Go to us. There we go.
Hey.
Hey, we are live. Welcome, guys, to the Disc Golf Answer Man. It's an unusual. Oh, I should have set a camera out there. That's why I was going to put my iPhone so people could see outside. But
You have the GoPro.
because it's gross. Right, but I can't show the YouTube people right now. But it's snowing here in Emporia, Kansas. It's been snowing for about 2-3 hours now. But we wanted to check in real quick on YouTube, real quick with Eric McCabe and Robert McCall, because we are in the 8th day of No Shave November.
They're saying that there's echo again.
There's echo. Why was there echo last time? Hold on, I got it now.
Because we're doing this from a cave this week.
Yeah, we switched
All
it
right,
up.
now see if there's echo.
But we did bring the wall with us.
Yes,
So that,
of course.
so that nobody
the
could
wall?
tell.
It's a prop wall.
Hey, that's
it's not
better.
even real.
All right.
All right, there we go.
All
Got-
right. Yeah,
got all the
it's
settings.
fake.
Fake.
We just push it over.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm going to see if maybe I can show them real quick the deal here. I can do this on YouTube because YouTube people are okay if we don't do strictly disc golf stuff.
Oh.
All right, here we go. See, guys? Can you see?
Boom. Better. Much better. No echo now.
Snowy.
Now, it's not appearing. Hold on. My computer's going slow. We're going to show people it's snowing if I can. Well, yeah, you can take it. Except it's not coming up as my sources. Hold on. There we go.
Should I go
Now
out
they can
there?
see the snow. Do you see the snow out there,
Nice.
guys? Good old Emporia, Kansas, snowing. It's probably gonna last what? Till tomorrow, and then it'll mostly be gone.
Yeah. They said 3 inches or so.
Yeah, so it's, I mean, those flakes are huge.
Yeah, I mean, I would personally.
I'd be.
Is that was a bad idea? It's cold.
If we're wishing for things, why don't we wish for like
Oh yeah, they
70?
probably get
I'd be
sick
down
from
for
all
that.
the other-
Just San Diego weather.
72,
All right.
sunny.
So that gave our YouTube. So anyway, we're checking in with the No Shave November. As you can see, some of us are. Oh, I could still. Maybe I could do this too on this.
Just disc golf answer adolescents.
Yeah. So.
Disc golf answer adolescents.
Um.
Bobby, the audio source isn't the same when you change cameras.
All right.
Not the same.
All right.
I'm back. And there's Corey.
So there we go. Can you see Eric's beard
My
coming in?
mustache comes in quicker than anything.
I noticed that that kind of happens with me too. And then Robert's got his coming in pretty good.
That's great.
That looked
Oh,
good.
who's that
real
hiding
close.
behind there? Who's that hiding?
Wait, no. There's people back there. What? Yeah, but so mine's
I told you that's just a fake wall.
Mine's working a little here.
Yeah, it's just a fake one.
Trying to get it back, trying to not be a very baby face.
Yeah.
That's where we're at.
So we have raised
about this guy?
$480
Seriously.
for
Nice.
our
You got to show yourself.
There we go.
Bobby's is coming in.
Mine's
Yeah,
coming
it's
in
pretty
pretty
good.
good. Yeah, it's
Only
pretty
only
Except, see, This is
5,000
why I
more.
don't do. Look at the little space right there. That's why I don't do
So?
the
But if you
The
grow it
mustache.
in more,
right.
you won't even notice.
Yeah.
So anyway, so it's
Dude,
coming in really nice.
Only $5,000 more
So-
dollars till I shave my head,
Oh dang.
So we've got $480 of our
That's almost worth throwing down 5Gs.
Just right now.
Yeah.
Pop.
of our $1,000 goal. And I just want to say thank you guys so much if you have donated. If you're going to donate and you're just kind of working your way toward the No Shave November, not shaving, again, that's so awesome. Make sure you post some pictures to our Facebook group on Disc Golf Answer Man so we can see how well everybody's beard is doing.
Yeah. Marty Smith says, "What about Danny?" And Marty, I'm just going to share this with you. Danny's been doing No Shave November for
His
a,
entire
Since
life.
last November.
a lot of Novembers.
So yeah, so they're not quite.
Can
having
they
the
hear
beard
us?
coming in. I
Because
don't-
he.
Nah, I think he's editing.
Okay.
He's
Okay.
editing, though.
Anthony can hear
Hey,
us.
sup, Anthony?
So how's it been though? Has it been like itchy?
Cold. Just a little chilly. I don't notice any difference. I
No?
don't get the itch.
No?
Like when I grow it way out, it doesn't bother me. When I shave it, it doesn't bother me.
Yeah. On the
I
third
know.
day, it was itching a little bit, but then after that,
And
it's
then
gone.
on the
Now it's
third
not
day,
itching.
it started itching.
It started itching. So anyway, all right. Well, we wanted to check in real quick on that with you guys. So thanks again so much. We are at $480. We want to hit that $1,000 goal
Yeah.
by the end of
The day.
the day, by the end of November.
It's a telethon, right?
So yeah, little Jerry Lewis telethon. So we're not going to stop until we reach the $1,000. We're not going to
we're not
talk
gonna
disc
stop-
golf until we reach the $1,000.
Yeah. Are you saying we're not going to stop growing our beards till we hit $1,000?
That's right.
Good. Great. Can't wait.
That's
Would you
that's a
let
good
it?
goal.
Would you what?
Let's do that.
But here's the problem with mine though, is that mine, like, I would love for it to be like, the giant, the disc, the giant, and the super long beard that he has. I would love for mine to be like that, but instead mine just does this.
Even better.
I have afro beard.
Even better.
Will it be that way by the end of the month?
No.
Oh, okay. Well,
No,
it's gotta
it
go.
takes like 2 months.
Somebody
right?
said that there's December beard.
Like
you have
beard
to-
is a thing. Yeah.
I think it's every month they have something.
something with the beard.
Yeah.
There's something to do with the beard.
Feb beardary.
February.
I didn't make it up. It's just that's what people say.
February.
Well, thank you, Eric and Robert, for joining us to check in. We're
bye.
going to transition now to our very special guests. As you saw hiding in the corner there.
Are they that special? Well, one of them is really special.
Super special.
Super
One of them we
special.
like a lot. The other's
Now-
pretty average. We'll let you decide who. Oh, I guess I should do that too. Whoa!
Hey guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Good luck.
Thanks for giving up your comfy chairs for us.
All right. I'm going to bring up the chat here so I can.
What up?
How are you guys doing?
Awesome.
Cold.
Been here since, what'd you get here? Sunday night?
Sunday night, I think.
Sunday night. Left the super nice warm area of, wait, did you come from Florida, Texas?
Pensacola,
Florida.
Florida.
So, and came here to well, it was not bad the first couple of days.
No, it's fine.
But today the temperature has dropped and we have snow as we showed you earlier.
Mm-hmm.
At least it's pretty.
It's pretty.
Yeah,
it is
it
really
is.
pretty. The snowflakes are huge.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm trying to bring up this thing so I can check the chat, make sure the chat's good. Where's Spout? Sean asks.
Here's a spout sticker.
She is on the RV with the heater on, probably
She's
snuggling
so
up on
cold.
the blankets. She's even with the heater on. She's like, you can tell she just puffs out.
Yeah. She's a Texas girl, so she's not used to this.
What is I guess we can jump into it. How's the off season been so far?
Very
We've
good.
only
When's
had
the
a
last
couple
big
weeks.
tournament that just happened?
Pro Tour finals.
That was we haven't played anything since then. There was a couple of A tiers that happened, but we decided to not do those. We just wanted to chill and really enjoy
Not
some time off
literally.
after a long season.
Sorry, someone tried to call me and I was trying
We're
to tell
boring
them
Bobby.
Damn.
Sorry,
He
yeah.
doesn't care.
All right, so what did you say? Is it still okay?
What's that?
How's the off season? Okay, I'm in. I'm putting my phone away.
We're
and
great.
We're gonna. You guys are doing great. Off season been good.
Mm-hmm.
Now I know that you have like a big disc golf strong thing coming on. I mean, it seems
Yeah.
like the concentration or the focus for off season is going to be getting your body ready, recouping after the season,
Mm-hmm.
and then getting your body ready for the next season. Right.
Yeah.
In fact, I was listening to a podcast. And I listened to the Joe Rogan podcast, and they were talking about the importance of stretching.
Mm-hmm.
And it just kind of reminded me of, because I've seen a lot of other pros working with Disc Golf Strong and, the importance of the off-season training and getting your body ready. And there's that whole level. So talk to us a little bit about what your mindset is now going into preparation for the next season.
The biggest thing for me, what the Disc Golf Strong workouts do are building muscles, not necessarily building the exact muscles that we use, but building the muscles around them to help support those muscles. And that's been really big. I've had issues with lower back, and so strengthening the muscles around that to help support the lower back are huge.
Yeah.
being able to recover and recoup faster from tournament to tournament next year is going to be huge. And I really believe in these workouts to help get me there so that, from if we have to do an 8-hour travel day and then play another big tournament with 3 to 4 rounds, that my body's ready for that. And that's the preparation of this whole off season. Another thing that I'm really focusing on is cleaning up form issues and things like that. Towards the end of the year, I definitely felt like my timing and stuff got off. Maybe it was from fatigue. Maybe it could have been from a lot of different factors, the big open courses. But the off season will be a really good time for me to dial in, get consistent, and clean up those releases so I can compete at the highest level. So this is a big time off season for me as pushing even harder than I have in previous times. So it's gonna be fun to see how it all turns out.
Now, Tina, you have your shoulder injury that you've been contending with and stuff like that. Talk a little bit about what you're doing to prep for next year.
Yeah, this year's been really tough, honestly, with the shoulder injury. I was expecting it to be out of my life by at least halfway through the year. I spent some time in Oregon getting it fixed, and it felt a lot better, and then it flared up again out of nowhere. So my goals for this off season is strengthening all the muscles around my shoulder. I think it's an impingement, but I'm not sure. But as long as all the other muscles are doing most of the work, it should help take some of the stress off of my actual shoulder. So that's my goal. Similar to Eric, I really just want to get healthy and then kind of go back to the basics with my form, because I think something about the way that I'm throwing is causing it to flare up again. So I'm going to work on making sure that I'm throwing with more muscles and not doing like a slingshot movement, if that makes sense. So there's a lot of work to do.
Excellent. And you'll be spending most of that time in you're going to Texas after this, but then you're going to California to really hone in that stretching and recouping and prepping and stuff like that with Disc Golf Strong. Which
yeah, Seth lives in Monterey, California, so not a bad place to hang out in the winter.
Not a bad place. Someone wants to know if we have Jake Gyllenhaal in, and we do. So, Jake, how's it been filming lately? Is that good? Or?
Oh, it's been good. The movies we've been working on are a real treat. We can't wait for you guys to see them.
All right. Nice. All right, so I've got everything set now to record actual Disc Golf Answer Man for the audio listeners, so we're going to hop into that. YouTube listeners, here in a little bit, we'll get some more questions from you guys if you have any questions for Eric and Tina. But right now, we're going to concentrate on answering the Disc Golf Answer Man questions. You guys ready for that?
Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
Put your phone away, Bobby.
I don't know where to put it.
I'll take it.
Let's do it with my hands.
Bobby.
All right, here we go. Make sure this is, we've got volume on here. Hey, yep, okay.
Hey,
everybody, welcome to this we'll start that over again. Boop. Hey, everybody, welcome to this episode of the Disc Golf Answer Man. I am Bobby Cool Daddy Slick Breeze, and I have with me some special guests. I have Tina Oakley and Eric Oakley.
yay.
How are you guys doing today?
Wonderful.
Awesome. I couldn't be better.
Eric has no idea how he is.
Well, it was funny. He was nodding his head. And I was going to say, Eric, they can't hear you nodding your head. So Eric and Tina have made a trip from Florida here to Emporia, Kansas, and they're out here getting some content done for me, Anthony, and Danny to put together, having some meetings with Robert McCall and with Jeremy Rusko and stuff like that, kind of getting things ready for next year. So tell us a little bit real quick about what's going on right now to prepare for next year.
Just getting an idea of what type of events we might want to run while we're on the road, and be able to give back to the fans as much as possible between tournaments, maybe even leading up to tournaments. That's been one of the biggest things of our focus here to get ready for the next season. So it's going to be those discussions have been very, very positive so far. It's going to be really, really cool.
Good.
Yeah.
Now, Tina, along with gameplay, you've been dabbing and doing really well at some media stuff. Oh, they got the dab there. And You've created some videos. Of course, you've been doing the whale pants vlogs and things like that, but you've been creating some videos for Dynamic Discs as well and some Instagram story stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What's your whole thinking process about for next year? Are you excited, wanting to do more? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a great time with media. It's really something I've dove a lot into mostly the last 2 years and something I'd always kind of wanted to do. So it's cool to have a venue to do so and a company to support and promote in that way too. So I have a lot of fun with the Instagram stories, both for myself and for Dee Dee. It's cool to see like the inside moments with our players that I think a lot of people don't get to see. So I'm actually working on a video right now for our, I guess you could call it vacation in Florida.
Yeah.
We spent about 3 weeks in Florida and had a great time. So that'll be up hopefully tonight. And then, next year I'm expecting a lot more of the same. Some
Good.
videos for Dynamic, some videos for Whale Pants. And then who knows what next year is going to look like.
Maybe you do some stuff for Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah. Right here.
there.
Nobody knows
This
what that
guy.
means. All right, cool. That sounds awesome. Yeah, make sure you're subscribed to the Whale Pants channel and the Dynamic Discs channel so you can see more content that Tina is putting together. Well, besides playing, you guys run clinics and teach people about disc golf. So we're going to hop in and we're going to take advantage of the knowledge we have in the room
Awesome.
by answering some of these questions. You guys ready?
Let's do it.
All right, this is from the Google form. This is from Jason. Do you keep your breathing consistent from shot to shot? Do you hold your breath once you start your run-up, or do you exhale first, then start your run-up?
I really like to take a breath before every shot. I think maybe when I putt, it's different than when I drive, but I think a big part of throwing with your best form is being relaxed and not tense when you're on the tee pad. So like the second I step up to the tee pad and I'll line up my shot and then I'll take a deep breath before I even start my run-up. And then same for putting, but more like right before I actually putt, just to like let out all the bad energy and then focus.
I don't think I'm necessarily thinking about my breathing. I'm allowing it to be natural. Now if I find myself holding my breath as I'm throwing, that might cause some problems, but let everything be as natural as possible. Breathe. Don't, like as Tina says, don't let any tension build. That's where you start to find issues. Your muscles are firing before they need to fire, and then they actually are losing energy to be able to do what you're trying to do. Not necessarily just throwing, but when it comes to putting, I actually try and exhale as I throw the putt to help that timing actually get together for my putting. So that could, I don't know if that totally answers his question, but
Right.
that's something about breathing that is really important. And Seth Muncie works with us on belly breathing. It's a more natural way for us to be breathing because we always breathe up in our chest,
Right.
and not using our diaphragm. And by doing that, it actually decreases the stress, decreases the tension in your neck and muscle and shoulders and other areas that can help you stay calm throughout the round.
Excellent. All right, next one comes from Happy Fillmore.
Oh, Happy Fillmore.
Happy
funny.
Fillmore.
You should have been standing there.
And he says, first, let me say Bobby did a great job saying my tongue twisters. That must have been from an earlier episode. Second, he says, my question is, when I missed my putts, I missed to the right of the basket. What am I doing wrong? You're aiming to the right?
Yeah. I think more often than not, you will line up and feel like you're center. But actually, your body is slightly to the right. And it is a very interesting thing to not be able to figure out because your body looks and feels really good, but you might be just slightly off in your shoulders, slightly off in your feet, and it's an inch is enough to miss the basket completely. So check your footing, over exaggerate your line, and make sure you get your body lined up. And if you miss that putt, look at your body, see if your shoulders are to the right, see if it's your feet, and try and figure those things out. It's an easy process to break down if you can start dissecting the problems.
Excellent.
I second that.
All right. Let's move on to Clay. I play every day, and I'm your typical student of the game who watches tournaments, constantly always trying to learn. One thing I cannot seem to understand is how to consistently putt well. Over the course of a couple years, I've tried to commit to so many different putting styles, including a turbo-only putt. I can't seem to understand how someone can put so much pace behind a putt without really throwing it. I've never found a video or an explanation of how it works so well.
How putting works?
Well, just how to consistently putt well.
It's all about sticking to one thing and committing to it. You're gonna have bad putting days. The top professionals
Or
have bad
weeks.
putting days or weeks, and stick to it. Work with it. Johnny McRae actually told me, I don't know, it's maybe even like 5-6 years ago when I first got to play with him and meet him. He said, find something, find the putter, find whatever it is, and find that style and stick with it. You will be able to adapt and understand, and the muscle groups you start to use, you'll start to add distance, you'll add the speed that you're looking for with those styles. Now, some putts favor more power than others. A pitch putt doesn't really do that. Ricky Wysocki has that kind of lofty spin pitch putt that he generates an incredible amount of power, but he has been putting for a long time, and he putts a lot. So he's put in that time and that effort. So my suggestion to you is stick with something that feels good and is something that you can continue to repeat and just work it in. You will gain distance and you'll gain power on those putts with the practice.
I mean, obviously, I only know you, Clay, from this one paragraph. But just from the tone of the paragraph or the wording, I mean, I wonder how long. Like you guys said, sometimes it could be one round your putting's off. Weeks, it could be 4 or 5 tournaments where you're just man, I cannot get my putting back, and I wonder how often he kept changing it.
Right.
And,
Okay, I'll try something else then.
Right. And so even in his question, he says, "How do I consistently?" Well, you've got to be consistent. Now, again, Clay, I don't know exactly. I don't know you other than this one paragraph, but you definitely. It takes time. It takes a lot of time to be as consistent as some of these top touring pros. And you just got to stick with it. Next one comes from Eric.
Hey.
You submitted a question?
I did.
Yeah.
Cool.
Or was it the other Eric?
It may have been. I recently purchased a practice basket for my backyard. I'm wondering if it is better to practice shorter distances than working my way back further, or will it be more beneficial to just try to practice from further away? Any suggestions for putting practice? Love the show. Keep on growing the sport.
I definitely think at least starting with shorter putts, anything inside the circle, those are going to be your most common putts and the ones that really, really count. If you can't make putts inside the circle, then it's just not as beneficial to be practicing the ones outside. As you get better inside the circle, maybe move out a little bit, but practicing those 20-footers over and over and over again is actually really, really helpful. Just creating that consistency, and it's positive reinforcement because the more putts you make, the more confidence you make. And realistically, putting's more about confidence than it is about technique.
Second.
Cool.
All right, high five. All right, next one comes from Troy. On episode 223, Robert answered a putting question. He mentioned how pros have a better/stronger wrist and finger pop at the release. Is there anything I can do to improve this personally? My biggest downfall is my putting, specifically that pop. Anything over about 22 feet, I get very inconsistent. I tend to always be in line, but short, either hitting cage or pole beneath the basket. My usual doubles partner notices that if I putt angry, I tend to never miss, aka comebacks on the times I do go long.
Put the time in some practice. Go to that uncomfortable distance, and take one step in from there, and just feel that motion, feel what that step that putt feels like, and then once you're making those putts and you're getting that pop and feeling, take that step back out to that uncomfortable zone, and throw the exact same putt you just threw, and do what you can to not change, and aim a couple chain links higher.
Yeah,
and just change your aiming point to where you're getting the disc up a little bit higher so it has a chance. Because more often than not, if your putting problem is at 22 feet, if you step in, you're at about 18 or 19 feet. And if you were to back up and throw the putt just a little bit higher, the putt will probably still go in from 22 feet. So you can start to play tricks on your mind and whatnot. And something that I like to do that I picked up from Big Germ was, before I step up to my putt, I will stand 1 to 2 steps behind my mini if I can, look at the target, visualize the putt from there, look down as I step up and get my feet set up to be at my mini. And then as I look back up, I've already mentally made a putt from farther away. And now when I step up to my mini, I feel confident because it feels like it's a shorter putt in my head, and that I'm going to commit because I'm going to throw the putt like it was maybe a step behind. And now I'm making that putt from that same spot. So you're able to give yourself those visualizations to help make those putts from farther away.
Excellent. So I was talking to Tina earlier or yesterday, or I can't remember what it was, and you mentioned it being 3 years out on the road in the RV, right? Mm-hmm. So what can you reflect on looking back, and I guess maybe give us like maybe the top 3 lessons you've learned touring out there, living your life in an RV?
The RV part or the playing part?
I'd say give us 2 of the playing and 1 of RV. So what's it like traveling and living in an RV and then playing?
Okay, RV wise, man, it's kind of tough because I feel like we've worn out of tolerance for RV living by the end of every year, just because it's a lot.
Yeah.
And being on the road as much as we are, we're not staying in one place for a month. We're staying in a place for 6 days and then going to the next tournament. So something that we've learned, I guess, is really going with the punches. We get punched a lot. And you really just have to expect that those problems are going to arise. As many of you know, we had a lot of RV issues last year and a lot of repairs, and it gets frustrating, but I think we've gotten a lot better at just handling those situations when they come up and just, okay, we've got money put aside to repair this, so we're just going to have to deal with it and move on.
And we trust that we can hustle hard. Honestly, the disc golf life that we've created allows us to be like, okay, we just need to push a little bit harder for the next couple of weeks to make up for that kind of hit.
Yeah. So I think just taking it as it comes with the RV in general. Disc golf wise, over the last 3 years, I think one of the biggest things that I've learned is how to learn. I think it's really important to take the time to go walk with some of the professional players and just watch and absorb information. I got to caddy a lot for Paige this year since I didn't play as much as normal. I got to see her decision making. I got to see where she loses confidence, where she gains confidence, and like her fierce competitive edge, and just seeing those bits of top professionals that taught me a lot of how to play my own game. And just confidence radiates from professional players. So if that alone is what you get out of it, I think that's a huge step in disc golf in general. You can learn a lot from just watching other professionals play. Mm-hmm. And then another disc golf thing, like a big change in my game. Mm-hmm. Slowing down. I think this applies to like we teach this in clinics a lot actually, but a lot of people run up to the tee pad, or they are like aggressive when they throw, and it's a lot of like energy moving forward, and obviously you need that to throw far. But if you have all that without consistency, without hitting your angles, without hitting your lines, there's really no point of having it. And so something that Eric and I teach a lot, and probably my favorite thing to teach, is slowing everything down, every movement down. Slow down your legs when you're running up to the tee pad. And especially if you're like off a little bit or you're just in the middle of a bad round, slow down, let the disc come out smoothly instead of being overly aggressive. I think that helps so much.
Very cool. What about you, Eric? Give us a couple lessons you've learned over the last few years as it relates to, because there's only a top percentage of people that are like living on the road.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So more as it relates to somebody that, like Tina said, because I know when a big tournament's over, like the Memorial or something like that, it's like, get home, get back to my home base. And, for you guys, it's like, okay, get in the car and let's drive 12 hours to the next destination.
The things that I've learned is that no matter what, the drive is always going to take longer than you think. And I think that kind of seems straightforward with stopping and everything, but we're in an RV, and you don't recognize how tired you're getting when you're on the road and how fatigued you can be. You can rush there, spend the full time in there, and the recovery time is the same as if you would have broken up the drive over 2 days. And that's one thing that we've started to recognize. It's like, all right, yeah, cool, we can do a 3-hour drive in the morning. We don't need to get all the way to the location, and that's, I think, has helped our sanity a little bit as well than just muscling out 3 extra hours for just total exhaustion the next day, and we just are vegetables, and that's not fun. Yeah. Disc golf wise is lower your expectations. Don't have any expectations. There are some players on weekends that are just going to be better than you.
Yeah.
And you wanted to have a great weekend, but you have to let those come. I didn't expect for my best finish this year at Jonesboro. I was not expecting anything. I went in, I was throwing the disc well, and I was making putts, and I just ran with that. And I happened to be better than a lot of players that weekend. And that was a positive movement for the rest of my year. But that would be the biggest thing that I could hope that people will grasp is stop expecting. Let whatever happens. And if you happen to be the best player on the weekend, awesome. And if you're not, be the best player you could be that weekend, not being the only good player. So that's those things really, really will translate even into the rest of your life. It's helped me a lot.
Good deal. All right, let's jump back into the questions.
Word.
This one's Hunter from Kentucky. Hey guys, I recently started listening and am learning a lot. I've been playing for a little over a year, and I seem to struggle more with putting than any other part of my game. Wow, it's like a putter show.
Yeah,
huh?
I was just gonna say.
I've been using a McPro AVR with a basic loft putt, but I've recently been trying to transition to a spin putt with almost no success. I would like to pick up a DD putter. I've been looking at both a Judge and a Warden. Would you all suggest one over the other?
Considering you've been using the McPro AVR, I would suggest the Warden, as they are similar in feel.
Would you say you're Team Warden then?
No. Just as a similar feel, because the bead might be something that might take a little bit of time for you to get used to with the Judge.
Right.
Now, I think you could try all 4 of our main putters. The Slammer would be too different of a putter for you to try. The Deputy will have a similar feel, a little bit straighter, a little bit more glide than what you're used to. The Marshall will have a similar feel, but have a little more stability. So if you're looking for that spin putt, you can give it a little bit more energy, and trust that it's not going to be offline as much as maybe the Warden or Deputy or Judge might be. But also, Robert, goodness, he's blowing up the chat. But honestly, if you're trying to make the switch, you can't go wrong with any of the putters. You need to find what feels good in your hand first and foremost, and what you can get a consistent release over and over and over again. And if you're having problems with those putting, just grab a stack of them, and putt them. And if you really aren't liking how it's coming out of your hand, or and it's not feeling good, have that experimental period where you try a couple other ones until you find something that feels good, and then run with it for as long as you can, and you will find a way to make it work.
All right, next one comes from Andrew. Hey guys, my game has suffered recently, and I'm not sure why. I was throwing golf shots just over 450 feet. I haven't been practicing any new form or using any new discs, but the last few days I've been getting maybe 350 with my distance drives. Do you have any advice to pinpoint my problem?
It's hard without being able to see it or know any information about how you throw.
So, slow it down. That is to me sounds just a timing issue. Timing is so important, and that could easily be costing you 70 to 100 to all the feet.
Yeah, definitely could be timing. My biggest advice would be to either have a friend or just yourself prop your phone up and take some video of yourself throwing from different angles. You can really dissect your own form, even if you don't know much about like what perfect form looks like. But just dissect it, go frame by frame, and see maybe your foot is in a weird spot, maybe your reach back is rounding, maybe something dramatic is off, but it's hard to tell when you're actually in the middle of a movement.
Next one comes from Cole. What's up, guys? I saw a video of AJ Risley testing out some new 2019 releases on Instagram, but I can't remember what they are called, and the video is gone. One was a DD Understable Speed 9, and the other was a Westside Speed 5. What can you guys tell us about these, or do you have to wait a bit for an announcement? I believe the Speed 5 is the Gatekeeper,
yeah.
and the Speed 9 might be the Vandal.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So have you guys had a chance to toss any of those?
Not yet.
I have. The Gatekeeper reminds me of just a slightly different feeling EMAC Truth. Flies. If your EMAC Truth and a Compass had a baby, bam, you got it. And it's that means it's going to be a great mid-range for the Westside Disc lineup. Won't make my bag. I've been an EMAC Truth thrower since I came to the team, and the disc is continues to exceed my expectations. So I have no reason to switch from the Gatekeeper from the EMAC Truth, and I don't think that those two discs will have they will definitely overlap if you put them in the same bag, but it does feel a little bit different, so more people might actually gravitate towards the Gatekeeper because of that feel.
Yeah, that's your opinion.
Yeah, that is my opinion, which is right. So sorry.
Which it helps when it's right.
Yeah.
So,
which isn't always right.
The Vandal for me is reminiscent of some great roller discs that I might have tried and thrown in the past, and I think it'll be a good understable flyer for a lot of players, like a faster Maverick, and like a slightly more understable Escape, and allows for it to just naturally want to turn a little bit more. I could see myself even trying it out for some woodsy sidearm shots that flip late, and it could be fun. Now I am using the Thief as a roller, so I don't necessarily need a new disc in that slot, but I am interested in putting the Vandal through the paces and
sounds
see what
like something I would probably use.
Absolutely.
I threw it a couple times. Were we in Sweden? I think. And I was interested in throwing it more, yeah.
When did you throw them that I didn't get to?
Ledgestone.
I was at Ledgestone.
But you weren't at Lake Eureka.
Yeah. I was an hour away every day.
Way to go.
Way to be.
Ben wants to know, where are the Disc Golf Answerman minis at? Well, Ben, you can simply go to dynamicdisc.com and select the disc. You can go to store and then see the Disc Golf Answerman heading and head over there, and you can order yourself a Dymax Mini.
Plug.
Sounds complicated.
This is a question from the Question Man.
Nice. Disc Golf Question Man.
Oh, these are toward Eric McCabe, so we will save that for course design stuff. Here's a question from another Eric that's spelled with a K.
Wrong.
Hey, Disc Golf Answerman crew, I have a question related to disc weight. I am confused as to why throwing lighter discs are worse. Well, who said they were worse than heavier discs? Wouldn't it give you more distance?
Who said they were worse?
Wouldn't it give you more distance throwing light discs? Thanks for any insight you can give. Yeah, who told you they were worse?
Boys.
Now,
Boys are
if you
mean.
if you gave a lighter disc to Eric Oakley, that would not suit his throwing because he's a very powerful thrower.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean they're worse. The lighter discs are worse.
That's a huge benefit of the lighter discs.
Yeah.
Is you can get more distance with less effort for certain arm speeds.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get past a certain arm speed, then you need the weight to counter the power that you have, I guess. Yeah, they're not bad. I throw lighter-ish weights.
There's people I know. Paige Pierce even
Got some
prefers lighter.
167s and
Yeah,
stuff.
she prefers lighter weight.
I know a lot of players who do.
Yeah.
And it's definitely all about what preference of the style of shots you're wanting to throw. And yeah, lighter weight discs might be affected by the wind a little bit more than a heavier disc and whatnot, but it's all about your personal preference. If you can throw a 165, we'll use that as an example, 165 gram disc, and you throw it amazingly, throw it.
Yeah.
Just because you're, I only throw max weight because I'm strong and I'm a man.
Is that how they say it?
Yeah.
That's how Eric says it.
But there's no reason to not do that. I had that same philosophy for the longest time, and then somebody handed me a 172, 171 Enforcer, and it became like one of my go-to discs. I use it for both sidearm and backhands, and I throw it everywhere. And if I didn't just go and throw it and try it out and let it work for my game, I would never have tried. I would never have gone to a lighter weight disc. So I highly suggest just do it. You'll be great. Nike. Plug.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's I kind of was picking. I wasn't really picking on him, but I was just kind of saying something about it because it seems that's a sentiment that because you throw lighter discs that you're not good or something like that, and that there's no correlation
If
between.
it works for you, go with it.
Yeah, between throwing lighter discs and not playing well. The next one is from Haley. Hi, guys. My name is Haley, and I teach in Gwinnett County outside of Atlanta at a school called Chattahoochee Elementary. Chattahoochee. My husband and I love playing disc golf. I'm wanting to start a disc golf club after school. I'm wanting to start a disc golf club after school club for 4th and 5th graders where I can teach them about the sport. I would appreciate any advice as I start this process, and could you help me find a way to provide a disc for every child? I would love to see every student be able to have a disc to take home. I will address the every disc. Now, if you're looking for like maybe disc donations and stuff like that, make sure you send an email to sponsorship@dynamicdisc.com and talk to Derek. And I don't know what he can do, but that's the guy who facilitates what we can help out with programs like that. Now you guys, like we talked about before, you've put together events with the purpose of teaching clinics and spreading, growing disc golf and everything like that. So what advice do you have someone that's wanting to start something like that at a school?
With kids, I've talked a lot to Zoe Andek. She's one of our team players, and she actually has a nonprofit started to help teach kids. And what she taught me the most was keeping the teaching really, really basic. Maybe that seems obvious, but at the same time, you got to go even more simple than you think. Like hyzers don't exist to children. So get a disc in their hand, probably a putter so it doesn't hurt anybody. And I think it's a great idea. I think absolutely run with it.
Check your local clubs. I would imagine there are plenty of people who have excess discs just lying around that they would be able to donate for an awesome program like this. Make sure you get out there and interact with the kids and let them have that experience. Putting the baskets out, maybe even at recess from time to time, and being over there and supervising could help incentivize more of them to come out to a program like that. Might be great. But yeah, I think there's a lot of positive. Keep it simple, like Tina said, and you can do some really, really cool things to impact some future disc golfers, and that's really grown the sport to a whole new level.
Excellent. Next question comes from Andy B. With the Warhorse out, what's more stable, the Warhorse or stiletto?
Having thrown both, and I know older stilettos are incredibly overstable, and but some of them kind of are they're such a weird profile that it doesn't work for most players. I think the Warhorse has more workability as an overstable disc because its shape is a little bit more disc-like rather than weapon-like the stiletto is.
Weapon-like.
Pun intended, obviously.
Obviously.
I would put them on similar stability levels. I wouldn't say one is more than the other. Now, I would even bring the Lucid X Enforcers.
So sorry.
Yes, Bobby. Is this your first time?
I know. What's going on here? Stop.
Paige Pierce is here.
Paige Bierkes.
Paige
Paige
Bierkes.
Bierkes, even better.
Sorry, guys.
But as the disco, I think the Lucid X Enforcer is also in that category. If you haven't tried them, they're incredibly overstable. It's what I'm using. So it's great to have options across the three companies to where we have, an incredibly overstable, lower profile disc in the Stiletto. We have an incredibly overstable, 13-speed disc in the Warhorse, and we have a incredibly overstable 12-speed disc in the Enforcer, and I think that's great to have. So throw what you want,
Throw what you want. Throw what you know. This one is from Rick. Hey, Disc Golf Answer Man, I'm looking for your unbiased opinion on what the ideal overall putt is, considering all factors such as wind, uphilledness, varied distance from the basket, etc. I know the different putts have different pros and cons, but for a new player where nothing feels comfortable yet, what would be the most ideal putt that will make him the best he can be in the future? Example, straddled slightly nose down on a hyzer, or decently nose up with no hyzer, etc. Thanks a bunch and keep it cool, boy. He really wants you to narrow it down.
Yeah, we're gonna get to the deets.
If you're talking about like uphill, downhill, side hill, stuff like that, I think probably the most reliable putting form to not have to change your form much would be a straddle putt. I normally like staggered stance putt, but if I'm on the side of a hill and my back foot is way downhill, all of a sudden my center balance is way off. And so when I'm on the side of a hill, I'll straddle putt. If I'm uphill, I'll straddle putt. Downhill, I'll straddle putt. It just kind of like centers that, I guess, my actual throwing point. But as for like disc angles and whatnot, I think a flat putt is really, really good. I think putting on a hyzer just adds some inconsistency with the way the basket catches. It can cut through. It can slide out a lot easier than a flat putt, in my opinion. Eric?
For me, I think the overall nose up putt is probably one of my more preferred styles. I actually see a lot of players use this that I've actually interacted with and played with more rounds. Eric McCabe has a wonderful nose-up spin putt that's pretty flat. Eagle McMahon has a nose-up slightly hyzer putt. Simon Lizotte has a flat nose-up putt. I have a flat nose-up putt, and what I think that is so good about having that nose-up putt is that you can throw the putt all the way to the basket, and it's slowing down, so you don't have as many where you blow by it. And it being flat means it's not going to be as affected by the wind unless it's a headwind. And at that point, you kind of won't go as much nose up. You'll just level out the nose. And being able to control your nose angle is going to be very important when it comes to putting. That was going to be my point of learn how to putt every single way, from a knee, from a straddle, from your chest, from having to go really low because you need to go under something. Learn all those putting styles so you can...
Twirlers. Neck
Twirlers. The turbo putts, everything, you name it. It will only benefit you in the long run if you just work on it and get as good as you can.
Excellent. Next one comes from Evan. He's looking for a low power turnover mid. I finally figured out that I don't have to try and throw everything as hard as I can. Duh, right?
Mm-hmm.
I got a patrol and it will go right. He's a right-hand backhand on very low power shots, but also flips over sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I had a Tersus I never clicked with when I was trying to throw too hard. Should I try that again or maybe a warrant? I have a fuse that feels a bit too deep for me. Thanks.
This is totally a question for me.
Totally.
I love my patrol. I love my warrant. I was definitely suggested a Tersus when I first was looking for that straight understable mid-range. But I do have a warrant and a patrol in my bag. I use them for similar but different shots. The patrol definitely is more understable, in my opinion. I can't say definitely.
Then what?
Than a warrant.
Yeah,
the
I would
patrol is
agree.
more
Yeah,
understable than
I
a
would
warrant.
agree.
So if I'm in the woods and I need to get to the right backhand, right hand, then I'll throw my patrol and it'll flip up and turn to the right. But they're slow, so there's not much risk of them going crazy directions that I don't want them to.
Yeah.
My warrant I use for more straight shots, and it is a click warrant stability. It can handle a little bit more. I can even still get it to hyzer out if I have it a little nose up, which is usually an accident, but it happens. But they do have a little bit more stability if you're finding that the patrol flips a little too much. But I wouldn't give up on it because it's definitely useful. You just have to be trying to throw that shot that turns to the right.
What about the Tursus? That's kind of a completely different flight, isn't it? Because it can come back pretty good.
Yeah, if I remember right, the Tursus is very similar to a warrant, but it
It's
might
like
have a
between
little bit
warrant
more
and
of
patrol. It
It
lands.
is?
I think it lands
I
right in
guess I don't
between,
know.
where the patrol might
I thought it was more stable.
more leaning towards the patrol.
Eric doesn't know.
I would say for your throw,
Yes.
I bet that happens. I could see that happen. In my experience, the Tursus tends to turn, but then it fades back more than the warrant will. Now that's my experience, my
Okay.
throwing speed. So
Sure. Eric flips all of those over, so he doesn't know.
The fuse, the fuse is actually being used by a lot of top players right now. I know Robert McCall bags one, Jordan Castro, and Johnny McRae, and I think even Chris Clemens is using one. Like it's becoming a more popular disc. Now it does have a deeper feel, so if you actually,
that makes
as he
sense.
mentioned,
yeah,
he doesn't
Doesn't love it.
necessarily doesn't love it, but give it a try. You might grow into liking a little bit more deeper mids. I know the other mids that you mentioned have a lower profile, so you might want to. That's where you want to stay with, so you can have that consistency of feel.
All right. Next one comes from Terry. When I first learned to play, I dislocated my shoulder because I had horrible form and already had shoulder issues. I have spent the last year really working on my form, and I am a female who can now throw about 300 feet, approximately 280 on average. But I don't use any power. It's all just form. I have a friend who always tells me I need to put power behind my disc so I can get the farther distance. I've worked on my shoulder and it's stronger, but still afraid to put full power behind it. How do I get past this?
I'm all about having nice and slow form, nice and controlled run up. If you're trying to add power, I would do so very slowly. And I don't know exactly how to
If you're trying to
teach that.
If you're trying to gain distance and everything, first look at your angles. Taking video and understanding the disc is coming out, not nose up, and try working as AJ loves them, the force flexes. And then do that first before you add power.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So you're making sure that, all right, well, this might be far enough for me to throw if I get comfortable working these angles. And then you might not need to add power. But when you do add power, try and let everything be more compact. The explosion needs to be compact. Don't run up to the T-pad really fast and have everything super tense. Try and everything be smooth to where you're staying on the line for as long as possible. Then when you explode, you're allowing that to be the weight transfer to add to it, because I know that can also help make sure that your body is balanced and hopefully help you avoid having any injuries to your shoulders and stuff like that.
All right, this one's from Corey from Kentucky.
Kentucky.
My question is for Robert, but we will let Eric sub in for Robert.
Nice. I look like him, but better.
You're constantly saying how important fieldwork is for a golfer who genuinely wants to improve. So I was wondering what your fieldwork routine looks like. Also, what kind of routine would you suggest an 800 to 900 rated player have, much like Robert plays? Oh, what?
Boom. Roasted.
Thank you guys so much, and keep on keeping on.
So practicing in the field is can teach you a lot of things. you're able to see the discs fly completely. You're understanding what happens when you throw an understable disc on a steep hyzer. Does it stand all the way up? Does it hold the hyzer? You can start to manage these types of shots. So my work in the field is generally around, all right, I'm going to stay in one spot. I'm going to aim at something, and these are the types of shots I'm going to throw at that target, whether it's a hyzer, a flat shot, or an anhyzer. And I will throw every single disc in my bag to that target or in the direction of that target and try and make them work to get there. Whether it's whether the disc is incredibly understable and I'm throwing it on an anhyzer, figuring out how to not let it turn into a roller, because I'm not working on rollers. I'm working on anhyzers and trying to trust how I work that shot. Maybe I have to throw it higher. Maybe I have to throw it really wide, or I have to power down incredibly. Those types of things are really, really important to your field work. So having a purpose when you go out there. Pick a spot, pick a line. So you are trying to release the disc towards this target. So when you throw and you look up, the disc should be traveling towards that target. Now, you're not going to be hitting that target every time because discs like to fade and turn and whatnot, but at least your disc is coming out on that line. And the next step you can do with your practice is picking a spot on the ground, like would be a basket or a bag or a bush or something. And now it's not necessarily about where the disc is going; it's about making sure the disc ends up at that target. So those are the two types of practice that I will do. Is I will throw down the line, not caring where it goes, making sure I'm hitting lines, and that helps simulate woods golf. And then the more open golf is to landing the disc to a specific spot. So I'm getting both practice in, and it really, really helps. And throw all the lines, all the discs on all the lines, all your discs on a hyzer, all your discs flat, all your discs on an anhyzer.
How long are we talking this process normally takes?
I'll probably spend right around an hour.
Okay.
Maybe just a little bit more. Yeah. And the majority of that will be more focused. So say it's like warming up, and then about 35 minutes of I'm throwing a lot of hyzers. Boom, 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 boom. And then I'll spend 10 to 15 minutes throwing those other shots to not let my not let all my focus be on just the hyzers, but the main bulk of it was on hyzers that day. Then the next day would be flat shots, a little bit at the end for hyzers and anhyzers. And then boom, next day focusing on those anhyzers, a little bit of the other ones, so you keep everything fresh. If you can be if you have a basket that you can be throwing to, that's the best practice you can have.
I used to just put my bag in the field and then throw to my bag, so I knew at least I had an aim point.
Is there anything differently that you do, Tina, maybe to add that just real quick?
Back when I worked at the bank, I had an hour lunch break, so I agree with Eric that you can do a lot in 1 hour a day, or even less. I had kind of like a schedule that I used to work off of, very similar, like it would rotate, so every day I was working on something a little bit different, but making sure that like my main things that I did, hyzer flips were like every day, stuff like that. But an extra little thing that I like to do was find a field with some straight lines. And so I would stand within reason, like in front of this line, and I'd throw straight shots and make sure that they stayed like as close to the line as possible without like fading out or fading to the right. And without having like wooded courses where I was, it really, really helped to like get those straight on shots that I think are super, super useful.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But fieldwork can completely change your game. Even an hour a week of just field work, not course play, can really, really change your game.
Very cool. All right, next one comes from Mikey. I've always heard that you should choose a less stable disc when throwing uphill, but should you also choose a disc more stable when throwing downhill?
Huh.
Downhill shots are incredibly difficult.
So tricky.
I actually, having played in Salt Lake City and gone up and played some mountain golf on Solitude Mountain Resort, I found more success on downhill shots going down in speed. Now, for whatever the shot is asking of you, kind of figure out if it's a straight shot, throw a slower straight disc. If you need it to turn, throw a slower disc that turns. Like it match the shape of the shot, but go slower. A lot of the times on the big downhill shots, I was throwing mid ranges. On the very last hole, it's a 1,200 foot straight down the mountain. I was throwing a claymore, and I would just crunch it on a hyzer.
Yeah.
And let it slow and like really trust on that hyzer. But as it continues to pick up speed, as gravity works, it'll stand up and maybe work a little bit to the right. But since it's also tons of air, it'll have time to work back. Where those faster discs are wanting to finish faster. So when you're throwing downhill, try and go down in speed rather than adjusting the stability as much. Just trust the speed of the disc to help you.
Excellent.
Did you see? I think AJ's hitting on me.
Back off, AJ.
We got some, just for our audio listeners, there's the YouTube chat going on, and
It's quite entertaining.
it's quite entertaining. So make sure you join us on the chat next time if you can. Let's see. What are your plans after this? You're going to Texas for what?
Friends.
Oh, just to visit friends? There's no event or anything going on?
We're talking to Ideal Discs about running a meet and greet. The time frame is kind of becoming a little bit difficult because of the Veterans Park Open that's happening there next weekend.
Are you guys playing that or no?
No, we gotta get to Arizona to do a few more important things.
We might be getting a car.
Mm-hmm. So
nice.
Mm-hmm.
and then we'll have a car with us to travel around, which will be nice.
Excellent.
Yeah. So that's
a pull behind.
Yeah, do a flat toe and open up our ease of going places rather than driving the RV to the post office and the supermarket and stuff like that.
Running errands in a 23-foot house with cups and dishes and
kitty cats.
It's really a pain in the butt having to put everything away before we go to anywhere.
Right.
Like we can't even drive 5 minutes away without having to clean up the entire house before we go. So it's just frustrating and probably one of our biggest arguments of the year. So we decided to do something about it.
Very cool. All right, we're going to answer a couple more questions for this particular episode. YouTube people, get a few questions in as we get these, and we'll ask those questions here real quick. But this one is from Justin from Arkansas. This is on etiquette.
Cool.
Hey, Disc Golf Fans Radio Crew. I will clarify my question. Y'all answered a couple weeks back. I don't know if this is going to make sense. I was trying to put a spit out of my head and stick with my form. Someone on the card kept reminding me and laughing at the spit out the rest of the round. It happened on hole 8 after 4 consecutive birdies by me, which had me in the share of lead. I missed all but one inside the circle. Okay, this makes no sense because I think it's part of a question from a long time ago, so we will skip it. Sorry about that. This one's from Caleb. Hey, DD Crew, I have 2 questions completely unrelated. By the way, people who are saying, why don't you... I should stop. I'm going to rant.
Go.
Well, because people probably thinking, why didn't you pre-screen all the questions? I apologize that I can't pre-screen all the questions. I don't have the time to pre-screen all of our questions. Right now we're looking at 156 questions.
And these pros keep coming in and
pros keep coming in, taking up all our time. So I apologize that I didn't pre-screen the question, but hopefully maybe we'll get to a time when we can pre-screen. But right now we just want to put together a podcast and answer some disc golf questions, have a good time. Hopefully you will stick with us when we do that. This one's from Caleb. Hey, DD Crew, I have 2 questions completely unrelated. First, I've seen people throw signed discs. I think they're crazy. I have a nice 2-time felon that's signed by Ricky, debating on throwing it because I really like the felon. What do y'all think? Throw it.
Throw it. We sign stuff and people say, I'm going to put this on the wall. And I say, discs are made to fly.
To fly.
They're supposed to fly.
Now, there's nothing against throwing discs that are signed, and you should totally do those if you want to throw them. Also, just get another felon. They're amazing. You can find, I know it's not that plastic, but you can find a Fusion felon, Biofusion, or even a Lucid felon that would be super fun to throw, and you will enjoy it. And the Lucid X is money, so you should try that out too. Plug.
So here's my thing, Caleb. Don't listen to other people.
They're wrong.
if you want to get that and hang it on the wall, hang it on the wall. If you want to get that and you want to throw it, throw it.
Yeah. Do you, boo-boo?
Do your thing. And buy more Lucidex, felons. Yes. Secondly, I struggle with low putting into cage. I spin it pretty bad at it. I have enough speed, but hit the cage on putts at circle's edge. Don't want to aim too high because I hit band or over the basket. Thoughts on aiming point?
Follow through. Honestly, that's all. I think a lot of that comes to where you're just short. You're just short, and I'm not saying your aim has to be there, but your hand is not getting fully extended on that putt. So if you just trust to get your hand up, and just trust, and honestly, don't be afraid to hit the top of the basket. That's a good putt. And if you're good enough at putting, you should be okay. That all right. I have a 20-foot comeback. I can make that. I've made 20-footers before. So getting confident in those comeback putts to where you're going to give it a chance every single time.
All right, let's see if we can get a couple questions from the YouTubes.
AJ has so many questions.
We'll go work backwards so I can move up. Tony asked, any tips for playing in bad weather? Finland here, 6 months of it ahead. Wow.
Sorry.
We were just talking about doing a video on
know.
this, actually.
All we can tell you is I'm sorry.
Grip is really important. Finding some sort of
Heat device.
Yeah, like hand warmers or something to dry your hands. Lots of towels. Grippy shoes. I've hurt myself a lot in bad weather just because I slip on a tee pad or in the grass, and that's like really frustrating. And if you're throwing Trilogy plastic, I'd try out some of the Prime stuff. If it's wet or it's snowing, anything like that, that Prime plastic's actually really grippy. I'll switch my bag up with some of those if it's gonna rain.
I agree with those.
Trying to
I
find
don't play.
questions.
I honestly am the.
AJ had one.
I have become
here's a good
such
one.
a fair weather golfer.
Or farewell. Bye, guys.
Later.
Eric's out.
AJ says, what keeps each of you motivated through the whole season?
I think for me, it's having, I guess, multiple jobs. I think that's one of the biggest reasons that I stay on the road is because I have so many different things I can do. So I'm interested and I'm learning a lot of different things throughout the whole year. So it keeps me going. Plus sightseeing and travel, like to places that we wouldn't usually be able to go.
The competition. I have a very big competitive bug, and I really enjoy. And every weekend that I get to play in a tournament allows for me to, scratch that itch and get after it. So it's very, very fun.
Kenny wants to know if you ever taken the cat out for a casual round.
We tried when we first got her.
Yeah, she gets a little spunky, and
I don't think cats are made to do something like that.
Yeah,
if you train them well enough when they're young, I think you definitely can. She got really spunky early on, so we have like a little leash for her. But if we have her outside for even like 10 minutes on it, she turns into like a wild cat. Like
Really?
she gets mean and she like wants to do her own thing, and she's like a totally different animal.
Wow.
But inside she's docile and nice and playful.
Someone says, I'm a vibrant fanboy with dwindling supplies. I have one ace with a West Side sword. Where should I start with a Dynamic Discs driver lineup?
Trespass
is great. If you
Very
like the
similar.
sword at all, the Trespass is awesome, a little more stable in my opinion.
Renegade would be on the more understable side of the West Side Disc sword. Also, get a Felon, get a Marshall, Team Marshall.
Okay. And try and Escape. It's a really good fairway driver for any arm speed at all. So.
There you go. Excellent. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for tuning in on the podcast. I'm going to see if I can talk these two into staying and doing at least one more episode.
Can I have some more burrito?
Yes, we will take a break and allow you to
Burrito
have some
break.
more of your burrito. So, guys, thanks again for tuning in, and thanks to Eric and Tina. If this is the only episode you listen to with them two on it, make sure that you follow them on youtube.com/wellpants, right? Is that the official, right?
Yes.
Slash? And then on Facebook, facebook.com/
We also have whale pants on there too.
wellpants on there. And then the site is still going, right? owhales.com?
Whalesex.com. My
Whalesex.com.
website, yeah. Yep. And we actually do have whalepantsdg.com too with a lot of tutorials and like places to get all of our teaching information. So
There you go. So make sure you reach out to them, because I'm assuming, maybe I'm speaking out of turn, but just, you travel to different events and do different things. I'm assuming you're going to do some more of that.
A lot of that.
Yeah.
Right. So
Lots
if you
of
want to
events.
have some touring pros stop by your store, Eric and Tina will be more than happy to come out there and have some fun with you, playing disc golf, teaching disc golf, and just talking disc golf. All right, guys. We'll see you next time.
bye.
Thank you.
All right. Now, hold on, YouTubers. That was just for the audio.
Oh, they're still here.
Yes.
The audio.
The YouTubers stay on here. But we're going to take a break from the audio, but we're going to keep the live feed going. So if you want to just keep on watching, keep on watching. I do ask that you share this out. Let's get some more people on here. We're at about 149. I lost people because I should have told them not to get off before we ended the audio. So make sure you stay tuned.
How
And
long is our break? 5 minutes?
well, 5 or 6 minutes. How long it takes you to
6
crawl under the
tops.
table and grab
my
the burrito. Yeah. If you want to bring the burrito, I'm sure people won't mind you eating a burrito.
Who
on
wants
the
Eric
video.
to stand here and dance for you guys while I go eat my burrito?
Dance.
Anthony raised his hand. That's one. One's good enough, right?
Maybe.
All right, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna take a break somewhere else. And Eric, if you want to dance and talk to the people watching, that's fine. Or if you just want to talk, that's fine. Just make sure you're talking to the microphone.
Talking into the microphone. Actually, I'm going to go back. I saw some questions as time was going on. Kyle Miller, the water was wonderful at Ledgestone. Let's just kill it. We're going all the way back up to the top. Just Golf Weatherman. Like Eric Tunnel. Fear the Beard. How do I think Simon will do at VPO? I think he'll do great. He's going to play very well. Simon Lazada is a very good player. Volume. Oh, greetings from Latvia. That's cool. Thank you. Married life is amazing. I wouldn't trade it for the world. Tina's my favorite person ever. Loch Ness Oakley is great. Water's great. Yeah, I know this is really boring. But, okay, here's a good one. What is a good forehand disc when you're just starting to use to throw? No felons. Honestly, mid-ranges. Try out the pre-Mac Truth or the EMAC Truth are great to help teach you and correct your issues. The other part would be probably a Convict or an Escape. I think the Thief is really good, but it's super understable and takes a lot of touch, but it can help you in learning how to throw it. So definitely try out one of those, but definitely get a Felon. Felons are amazing. Robert Hansen, I did not find that white Escape that I lost at Northwood last year. It went into another universe and is gone forever. So more Warden talk because they have to talk about them because they have to tell people about them. But the Marshall's better. Brandon Butler, what's up, Danny? What's up? Answer some questions with us.
This chair's more comfy than that one. Is the only reason I'm here.
Smart.
Let's be honest.
Smart. How did it go from putting from the Warden to the Marshall and why? I couldn't find many Wardens that I felt comfortable putting with, and then I wanted to try something new because my putting was in a slight lull. I didn't change anything form-wise. All I did was just try out a different disc that felt good in my hand. Marshalls have been only giving me confidence, and I've been looking forward ever since.
This is a great question here from Tony. He says, Eric, nope, that's not it. It's from Drake. People say I have good form, but say I'm putting effort in all the wrong places. What did you do? What did you do to learn to throw fast and not hard?
Fast and not hard. So, though Nate Sexton was actually the one who put this in my head, was thinking of one moment of explosion. Everything stays smooth and controlled, and that one moment of explosion. Oh no, Bobby!
There goes the mixer.
Oh,
Those are
man.
super expensive. It was already broken anyway.
Yeah,
It's fine.
dude, everything's all mixed up.
All right. Can I add something to that?
Yeah.
I think throwing a disc is a lot like pounding a nail with a hammer.
Mm-hmm.
If you line up your nail on the piece of wood and then you come sprinting at it and hit it as absolutely hard as you can,
No chance.
it's not going to be very effective at pounding the nail. But if you
Yes.
just use measured, quick motion rather than super hard motion, you're going to be a lot more effective at that. but I'll still probably hit my finger.
Yes, absolutely. I will destroy my finger and end my disc golf career. Well, I'd probably hit with my left hand.
Isaiah Esquivel says #Team Warden.
Let's not go. You were my teammate the other day.
I was going to say, like, you have to be like at least somewhat partial to it.
Yeah, but also the Warden is a good disc, and people should try it out. But at the same time, the Marshall has only given me more confidence when it comes to putting, and I feel like I will become a better putter because of the Marshall.
So you're partial to the Marshall?
I am partial to the Marshall.
All right.
Yes.
Was it a KitchenAid mixer? No.
That would have been nice if it was just a KitchenAid mixer.
Caleb says physics of flight is awesome.
Oh.
Wink, wink. Other wink.
Oh, yeah.
Both winks.
There's
at
going
the
to be
same
some cool
time.
stuff coming to physics of flight.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. All right.
Somebody says they have a Proto Macbeth Challenger.
That's funny.
Any other good questions on the board?
If you guys want to, you can throw a few questions our way. We'll try and answer them right away. And before everything else, everybody else eats burritos. Bobby breaks mixers.
JT says, "What's your go-to thing to say when you miss?" So playing with Robert, whenever he misses a putt, he goes, "Robert." And so I've started doing that. I'll miss a putt and be like, "Robert." It's not very effective.
I generally call myself a big dummy. It's like, you dummy, and what are you doing? That one too. Yeah, it varies. It varies on how bad it is. But the best thing to do is laugh it off.
Oh, for sure.
If you can, and I also think about it as an opportunity to throw a good shot the next time.
Yeah. I think one of the big things that helped me with my mental game is acceptance.
Yes.
Is like you make a bad shot, you can get mad about it, but you have to accept the result and just mentally like accept it and then assess your shot from there.
Totally.
Because if you waste energy on getting frustrated, it's not going to be very effective.
Oh, Super Bowl winners. I will say as the Saints looked incredibly good. I think they have a very good chance to make a run at it. The Chiefs also look incredibly good. Nobody can rule out the Patriots. They're a solid team. But if I had to choose, I'd put it on. I'd actually probably put my money on the Saints right now just because they have a veteran quarterback and a veteran coach that can go a long way with that.
Sports things.
Sports stuff.
No, but like you're kind of from everywhere. So you don't your sports fandom isn't really based on location. Nope. It's not like I'm originally from Minnesota, so I'm a Vikings fan. I don't really follow them that much, but that's why I'm a Vikings fan or I started. But you're completely unbiased by that.
Yeah.
So what would you say is your favorite NFL team given that?
Cleveland Browns.
Cleveland Browns. All right.
Yep. I had family in Youngstown, Ohio, and just liked the Browns. And they had a couple seasons when I was young when they were decent. So it was kind of fun to root for them. And then now they suck. So that's great.
But they're not brown. They're orange.
They're very orange.
Very orange. For that sole reason, I've despised them. I'm sure they're fine. Somebody says, criminal versus felon. I bag both, but what is your point of view, Danny and Eric?
Felon is a slower, more controllable, and I think has a lot more versatility, where the criminal is just fast and overstable. And that's like the only thing it does.
I'd say the criminal and the Lucid X felon are close-ish, but the criminal at the end of its flight, it starts to like lift as it fades for my forehand, and the felon at the end of its flight, it just fades. So they end up in the same spot because the criminal fades more down and the felon fades more sideways, if that makes sense.
It's accurate.
But the criminal has that little bit of lift at the end. So I would say I could probably, Lucid X felon versus criminal, I probably get more distance out of the criminal, but I have more control out of the felon because it doesn't have that extra glide. But
totally.
If I lost Lucid X Felon and all I had was a criminal, I would be completely fine. Lucid Felon, though, is definitely going to carry forward a lot longer, get much more distance than either Lucid X Felon or the criminal, and be a lot more workable.
Absolutely. Nailed it.
AJ says, I saw.
Somebody, Matthew Gayden, asked, when did I decide to go pro? I actually have never played in the amateur division.
Wow.
From the get-go, I just jumped straight into open. Dynamic disc masters player Tony Shirley out of Texas. I asked him when I was playing there, and I said, what division should I sign up for? And he goes, you should play open. You will learn more in open. You're ready for open. And that was before I'd ever played. And I just played in minis and stuff like that on the weekends and throughout the weekend. Honestly, I think it's a big testament to where I'm at now, and because I've been able to grow and learn only in open. So it's been pretty cool.
Playing against the best, you're gonna play your best.
You have to.
For me, it was almost 2 years ago to the day.
Nice.
Yeah, whole $60. How much did you cash for first time?
First time I cashed for, I think it was like $75. Dang. Yeah.
That's big money at that time, though. Like you got paid to throw frisbees. How awesome is that?
It was pretty rad.
Was it just a C tier? Or?
I think so. It was up in Cache Valley in north, near Infinite Discs, actually, up that way in Utah.
Kenny Yu says, I coach a college team, but being not that highly rated player myself, it seems like they don't want to learn from me. They've asked for help from a pro. How can I prove to them that I can still teach them?
Reference to what pros have said. They will listen to you if you sprinkle in some pro advice. I think do it by showing them.
Yeah, saying because a lot.
Yes.
You want to do this because of this, because of that. That gets back to the root.
Yes.
I've of course, the YouTube comments are going to be a great spot for this, but I'm 969 right now, and I get a lot of comments. It's like, oh, is it too much to get a 1,000 rated player to come and make these videos, or why aren't you rated higher if you know all this? And it's like, that's not a one-to-one relationship there.
Some of the best coaches.
Yeah, I always equate that to football. I mean,
some of the best coaches weren't the best players.
Right.
There's so much there that you can be. You can have the best players in the world not be able to teach you anything.
Right.
So you should be the process should work the same. You should be able to listen if the person is knowledgeable and understands the mechanics.
I remember one time I did a video with A-Ray. And he wasn't even teaching form or anything. He was just teaching about OB rules. And then I take that back. It was something about putting.
Denny.
Also, Team Warden. I'm not going to drop the mic though.
Hashtag Marshall.
And someone left a comment and said, "Why am I listening to a 9 or whatever he was rated?" And I'm like, dude, if you've already turned them off just because you looked at his rating, then you've lost. Yeah. You've completely lost.
I get that all the time.
You have to be able to learn from everyone.
Right.
I learned from watching the juniors this year at Junior Worlds.
Oh yeah.
I learned so much from how they were composing themselves, how the way they were playing, and just being kids, enjoying a game. That you can learn from that. You can learn from every situation. So disregarding it is just honestly you're just setting yourself back. You're not opening up yourself to the best possibilities.
Yeah.
So Bill Belichick, great example.
All right, we are back, YouTubers. Thanks for hanging in there. If you've got the time, we're going to do a whole nother episode for the podcast. Did you need to take a break real quick,
No.
Eric? You didn't even get the...
I'm Gucci.
Sure?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
My throat's going to be a little sore, but I'll be all right.
Well, good thing you're a singer. You're a disc golfer and not a singer. So.
I don't know. He sings almost as much as he plays.
Oh,
yeah?
Man. I am real good at singing.
Well, but...
Hootie hoo. What are you singing the most often when you are singing?
Okay, so picture what a teenage girl who's into like poppy indie bands, what they would listen to. I rip on that stuff. I kill it. I am the best little poppy indie singer. So
you should see him at
falsetto.
karaoke. He actually is very...
Okay, yeah. Karaoke.
Go check out the Santa Cruz vlog we put out last year.
Yeah. So I've done Earth, Wind, and Fire, killing it, and Player, Baby Come Back. So some really good... Put some falsetto in there.
Let's just do it,
I
Rich.
was wrong, but I just can't live without you. Okay, sorry. Okay. All right, ready? Now for the YouTubers, we have a little cam set up so you guys can check out the snow. See what's going on with the snow.
Snow Cam Emporia.
Snow Cam
2018.
Emporia, yeah. So you get to see what's going on. It is building up. What's cool is I got a time lapse going as well.
I knocked it over.
Tina knocked it over.
I put it back. but I'm sorry.
Oh no! Now it's gonna look completely different.
There wasn't anything I could do. I'm
No,
so
I know. There's
sorry.
nothing you can do.
I'm so sorry.
So, but
Maybe I did it perfect. You don't know. Maybe I put it exactly
Did
where
you-
it was before. I'm sorry.
maybe it only look a little
Bobby.
bit different. All right, so
YouTubers, do us a favor. Share this. Let's get some people back.
I just
Doing
put it on
another
the
round of
Whale Pants
confusion
page.
or questions. Do it.
Confusion.
Plug,
Round
plug,
of
plug, 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 plug,
confusion.
plug, plug, plug. Let's
Yeah,
go.
Please do. It always helps.
Hey, plug it.
Adam said gross. Are you saying gross to our singing?
No.
Somebody did say you were a terrible singer.
Bobby's a terrible singer. I know I am, but I don't care.
I hope
like
he's
it.
saying. I think he's saying gross to the weather outside
Yeah, probably.
Oh, maybe
'cause
gross to
that's
the
what's
weather,
showing
okay.
right now too.
because it's gross.
Okay, so all right, let's get back to us, and then we will start another episode of the Disc Golf Answer Man. You guys ready?
Somebody needs to make a snow angel. That's wonderful.
I'll give you $1 if you go do it.
It's too cold. And it's just gonna get wet. Like I'll just end up completely wet.
All right, this time we're going to do some speak pipe questions,
Beep,
so we
beep,
can
beep,
hear
beep.
some different
Then
voices.
we can hear their voices. Yeah, that's
Yes,
cool.
ma'am.
Gross snow.
Gross. No, yeah.
Gross, no. All right, let me make sure it works. Oops, let me delete these old ones.
I like the sound effects.
You like that?
Yep.
Someone asked about how often do you check on spout? Was it?
Very often.
Yeah.
As
Do
much
people
as
come back to
possible.
check on the cat when Eric is singing? Oh,
Check on the chat. Oh,
the cat. The
I bet
cat?
the chat.
The chat. Maybe they're talking about chat. All right, let's make sure that the audio is working.
Check.
It is not.
Ball baby.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh.
That was what
Little
was
fuzzy.
happening last time. Oh, I know why. Hold on.
You did
Because
drop the mixer.
dropped it.
Stand by.
How many whale sex are too many?
Thanks, Master Idiot.
Is that
I
really
don't
his name?
mean to be offensive, but that's his name.
That's his name, huh?
Yeah.
Master Idiot, huh?
I was being genuine, and then when I was reading it, I was like, this sounds terrible.
All
He
right.
shared our video.
Mm-hmm.
How many whale sacks are too many whale sacks?
None. There's no limit.
There is no limit. Trust me. I have a lot, but it's not too many.
This always makes me mad. All right, stand by.
You gotta do the backup part. Doo doo.
Hold your ears.
Hold them. He said, hold your ears.
All right. Hold your ears again. Let's see what happens here. Oh, God. Sorry. Hold on, guys. Hold on.
You watching some videos over there?
Nothing over a 9
Oh, that's
speed.
the speed
There we
pipe.
go. Now we're cooking.
Cool.
Do you think I was listening to another podcast while we were recording?
Well, you did pull up
You have been
Paige's
on your
video
phone
earlier.
this whole time.
I was sharing it.
Who's sharing?
Bobby's just sitting over here, blah, blah, blah.
I was working.
Oh, I'm sorry. What'd you say?
I know. That was terrible. All right. Let's do it. Now we're got it. Now we 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 got it.
Did we lose AJ Risley?
Probably.
Probably. He was lost from the beginning.
No, burn.
Burn. Sick burn. He's mad. Hey, everybody. Welcome to this episode of the Disc Golf Answer Man. I am Bobby Cool Daddy Slick Breeze. And in the studio again, I have Eric Oakley and Tina Oakley
What
in
up?
the house.
in his house.
Easy in the RV. We're not
So
in an
now, if you guys listened to the previous episode, which I hope you did, if not, go back and listen to episode 240. We have Eric and Tina still here, so we're gonna tap that knowledge and get some more disc golf. What was wrong with that?
Continue.
Okay, thank you. And we're gonna get some answers from them on some of your disc golf questions. This episode, though, we're gonna concentrate on some speak pipe. Are you guys ready?
Let's do it.
Let's just jump right into it. This one is from Rhino.
Man, this is Rhino from Columbia, Missouri. I'm a new player within the last 6 months, And at the beginning of September, I came out to Emporia to tour the D&D warehouse as a birthday gift to myself. It was super awesome to meet Danny and everybody else there. And while I was in Emporia, I visited the store and picked up about a dozen new discs, all of which are within my wheelhouse, nothing over a 9-speed. And now I have this awesome commander bag loaded down with a bunch of new discs that I've been throwing over the past few weeks. Over the weekend, I went deep into the rabbit hole that is the internet and was watching a lot of in the bag videos and noticed that pros seem to carry less molds, but more of their preferred molds in different types of plastic versus my current setup, which is having 16 different molds. Is there such a thing as having too many discs? And what's a good way to kind of get my bag dialed in so that every time I go out, I'm really making all the best choices and all the best throws? Thank you so much. Appreciate all you guys do.
What do you guys got for him?
I like having fewer molds and having a lot of the same disc, but that are like in different stages of wear. For me, like for instance, I throw the trespass a lot for my distance shots, and I like having one that's straight, one that's understable, one that's overstable, and I have beat that in myself, so I know exactly how it's gotten to that point. But then when I go to throw it, each one of those feels the same in my hand, so it's going to come out in the same manner. But that's just my personal opinion.
I tend to use very, very few molds, so I agree. But I think there's a level of you need to be expanding. You're a new player. Have as many molds in different plastics in your bag. Fill that thing from wall to wall. Fill the pockets with discs. Get comfortable and find the disc that really works for you, or the discs that work for you. You're in that stage where, yeah, you might see another player throw a disc, but you can't make that disc do that. It might do something completely different for you. So you need to be just trying, enjoying, and making it work. Once you have discs that are continuing to impress you and continuing to, you're continuing to find success, then start getting a few more of those and try and see what a new one flies like, an older one flies like, a super beat up one flies like, a different plastic flies like, and see if that disc is like, all right, this is the disc I think that can help me find success. And that's what I think a lot of us have done, and why we've limited that is it adds consistency down the line. But when I first made the switch, I had a lot of different molds because I didn't know what I was going to throw. I didn't know what was going to work for my style. And then it's after a year or two, it really started to cut back on the molds because I haven't thrown this disc in 2 months. In 4, 5, 6, 7 tournaments. Boop, comes out of the bag because I don't need it because I'm using other discs for that same shot.
There you go. All right, next one comes from Chris.
What's up, Disc Golf Fantasy Band crew? This is Chris calling in from Michigan here. I just had a quick question for you guys. So in my my disc golf community here, I've gotten a lot of feedback from a lot of local players, kind of questioning my decisions for some of my bag, mainly in regards to my putters. So the main question here that I have is, what do you think is the right amount of putters to have, or does it just depend on comfort level? I have 6 putters in the bag, including my 2 putting putters. I have 1 main putter and then a backup just in case a catastrophe were to happen and I lose my main. I've got the XT Nova for just dead straight shots, P-Line P2 for shots I need a little bit more power on, AVR X3 for 4 hand-up shots, and a C-Line, the Sky God P2 from Simon, just because it's awesome and sexy and super overstable. So my main question is, do you have an idea on how many putters you should carry? And also, do you think that should weigh into your selection for mid ranges? Since I have so many putters, should I take out some mids? I still have the main like 5 mids for my gamer. Again, do you think it's just a personal preference thing? So thank you guys so much, and sorry to drop some Innova discs on you, but still always love dynamic discs. Have a great one.
What you guys got?
Silence.
I don't know what to say.
Honestly, what anyone else says should have no bearings on what's in your bag. At no point should you be worried that you have too many putters. Are you using them? Yes. Cool. Then keep throwing them. If you're not using them during your rounds and you're not finding a reason to have them, then take them out. But if you're finding success by having that many putters, keep doing it. And it shouldn't affect...
How does someone know, and I'm only asking this kind of like a devil's advocate to kind of dig deeper. How does someone know, because for me, let me see, how do I put it? Like when I try to learn video, and this is the only way I can think about it, is when I try to learn some new stuff when it comes to video, I almost would rather someone tell me how to do it rather than me have to learn it. And so I guess maybe I'm thinking is if I'm throwing a bunch of putters, I want to know, is that hurting my game or should it make it better?
Well,
or is there something else to do to make it better? Maybe that's maybe it's a bad analogy.
Here's the only thing I would say to counteract that is when you're doing video stuff, there's a lot of, like, as far as other than your creativity, putting the videos together and editing them is pretty much going to be the same all the time.
Gotcha.
Where you as a player to me as a player,
form is so different across the board.
Our bodies are so different, so that it shouldn't that has no bearings. I do get what you're saying. You definitely want advice from people on all right, well, maybe you don't need that AVR X3 because you have a mid-range that does the same thing.
Gotcha.
And he mentioned, should this affect the mid-range throw? And he's like, yeah, it should, but if you can start to have one disc do many things, that's when you are really going to make it, because that allows you to be more consistent across the game, because you're not, like, you'll never say man, I should have thrown that other one. It would have.
That was my only thing I was gonna say is, like, if you're being overly indecisive when you're trying to pick which one to throw, then maybe you do have too many. But I carry 4, but they're all very different for me. And
I carry
4 what?
4 different putters.
Oh, okay. I don't know what's happening.
Psych. Was that you?
How did that even happen?
Yes.
Sorry, guys. Somebody's phone went off.
Tina's pulled up an episode of Psych on Amazon Prime.
Sorry. Okay, so back to...
I'm really sorry.
No.
Oh, my God.
That was weird. I was trying to
figure... We're all looking
and then
around there.
And it's your phone.
Okay.
Okay, so back to... So
yeah, do what's right for you. And do what feels comfortable.
All right, next one is from Mikey.
Hey, Mike.
What is up, Disc Golf Answer Man crew? Bobby, Cool Daddy, Slick Breeze, Eric, the Course Whisperer, McCabe, Robert, Free Torchies, McCall. Hope you guys are doing well. Hey, I have 2 quick questions for you. My first one is about putters. With all this team putter stuff going on, it made me reconsider my putter game. So I went out to a field. Traditionally, I putt with my prime judges and I throw wardens, but I wanted to try to throw my prime judges to see what happened. And when I did, I got an amazing straight flight. I could put a lot of power behind it, and for the first time ever, I threw a putter about 300 feet, and it felt awesome. So I did that in the field, and I practiced it, but then when I went to the course, I couldn't seem to throw my putter straight like I did in the field, and it was really frustrating for me. It would just turn over and roll, or it'd hit a tree. It wouldn't go where I wanted it to go. So why is that? How come in the field I was throwing it straight and far, and it was awesome, and then I go to the course, and it just didn't do the same thing? Is it a mental thing? Is it form? I don't know. Just trying to figure that out. I really want to throw putters for accuracy. Second question. Bobby,
whoa, wait.
Why?
Whoa.
Okay.
Whoa.
I like this question a lot, actually, because I've
for it.
definitely gone through the same thing. Personally, what I think is when you're doing field work, there's so much less stress. You're really just trying to understand your discs, and you're throwing confidently because it doesn't matter. There's no trees to hit. You're not competing for score. You're not trying to beat your own personal best at this course. You're not trying to hit a line. You're just throwing. And I think our best shots can come out of field work because there's no limitations mentally. I think it's more a mental thing than anything, because when you do go to the course, if you're with your buddies, there's some pressure. If you're trying to hit a line, there's pressure. There's like different things you're trying to do than just throw the putter. So I'd say stick with your field work. Keep doing that until it's easily repeatable. Mm-hmm. You're so used to, you're not even thinking about it anymore when you do get to the course, but don't give up on it. I think field work is easily the best thing to better those new shots.
The disc might have thrown in a straight line, but when you're on the course and there's trees, and you released it in a straight line, it was going to fly straight, but it hits the trees because you aren't used to hitting tunnels just yet. And that's where, as Tina says, that practice can come in, where we mentioned, I think in the other podcast about practice, is working your lines and trust, like Tina puts herself on a line and you throw it on that line. So now you have to do is envision that line when you're in the trees. Also, you'd probably do a lot better if you threw a Team Marshall.
My gosh.
Hashtag Team Marshall. And then let's listen to the second part of his question.
For accuracy. Second question. Bobby, why have we not seen any after hours in the warehouse videos? Those were so fun with your hoverboard and some behind the scenes stuff.
He's
cool.
busy.
Hope you guys are doing well. Have an awesome day, and thanks for keeping it real.
So I can answer this one.
Oh, okay.
I'm just kidding.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, what? Wait, what? Yes, I do need to do, I keep saying that. I do need to do more. I need to sit down and write. What's interesting, what's challenging, though, is like some of those I had to like sit for hours and think of the script of what I was going to do and what I was going to say. Some of them were in the moment and stuff like that. And I need to figure out how to do that. So, yes, thank you, Mikey, for enjoying those. And we'll see if we can figure it out. Next one is from Josh.
What's up, guys? Josh from Wisconsin. And I'm just
Hey.
personally a fan of the West Side disc line just because of all the stamp art and just all the cool names, and just enjoy those. So my personal favorite is just the West Side Stag, and I was wondering if you guys had a favorite disc of the West Side lineup of your own. Thanks, and keep it real.
It's interesting because I was looking at some potential ideas that might happen with the West Side discs over the holiday with the stamps.
Mm-hmm.
They're so awesome.
I saw the Halloween ones.
It's like taking that kind of thought process
Mm-hmm.
and putting into the holiday theme and some other themes.
Oh,
I love
please.
that.
That's
Can I say something? What I would
What?
speculate is a stag with a Rudolph nose.
I
Nailed
can't
it.
remember if that was in it, but it was
That's
there
gotta
were some
be.
other different ones that people are gonna. I hope. Of course, now I'm saying it, and people are gonna be upset that it doesn't happen. I
There's
hope it
potential.
happens
Yeah,
because
there's potential.
That'd be
for it to
cool.
Cool.
happen.
So anyway, so West Side Disc. What's one of your favorite?
I love the
Stag.
Stag.
The Stag.
Yeah, I threw the Stag for a long, long time. I
now
switched
you-
to the Fury.
But now you bag the Underworld. It's
But
the only one.
Do you want to tell him for me?
Yeah, Tina bags the Underworld. She uses it for understable shots, and she's awesome with it.
Great. I don't need to talk anymore.
Well, what is your favorite disc? What's your favorite disc?
Was it now? Did he ask favorite disc or favorite stamp of the disc?
Our favorite disc in the West Side lineup.
Oh, okay.
yeah, I
okay.
think that's what he was asking. Yeah, I love the Underworld. It's crazy. I use it for like trick shots almost because I can throw it on a hyzer and it'll flip up and go straight right. It's really fun.
It's good.
I throw the Tursus
Nice.
for sure. I used to throw the Hatchet.
Okay.
It started getting too. I started turning it too much. The Hatchet. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't. Do you throw any of the West Side?
I used to throw the
Should we ask
shield.
Tina if you throw
Yeah.
any? What's
He used to throw the shield, but
just
now he
teasing.
only throws a Marshall.
T Marshall. I really enjoyed the Stag whenever I was first throwing it. I also threw the Underworld as a roller disc, and I really enjoyed that. But I wanted to try out some other discs, so then I landed on the Thief over the Underworld. The Shield is what I threw for a very, very long time in the VIP plastic, and I
Yeah.
really liked that disc as an overstable throwing putter. But quickly after that, I tried out the Classic Blend Marshall, and it's a Marshall, so I don't need to say anything else because it's so good. So, but it
So
just
good.
became a more versatile disc that allowed me to limit my molds and get my consistent release down. So, yeah, Stag, Shield, definitely some solid discs from that lineup.
Underworld.
Underworld. The
Very
Warhorse is pretty good too, but
Pretty good.
I don't need it because I have enforcers.
Gotcha. Next one is from a Drake.
Hello, Bobby Cool. Lost the bet, Daddy Slick Breeze.
I sure did.
Eric, the EMAC Truth is a little too overstable for me. Sorry. McCabe
Regular
and
truth?
Robert will always be 1,003 rated McCall.
No,
This
not
is
always.
Drake from Windsor, Ontario, Canada. How's she going, eh? Two quick questions. First, I had a tournament that I just got home from. The first round, I shot an abysmal plus 14. Second round, I shot a much more respectable plus 4. I was wondering if you guys had ever had a 10-stroke swing or what your largest swing was in 2 rounds of a tournament and how you dealt with going from one round to the other. The second question I have, sorry.
We'll do the first one first.
I've had a 10-stroke swing. I cried, probably.
How many holes did it happen over?
Oh, I thought we were talking round to round.
Yeah, it's round to round.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, like, 18 holes.
Oh, okay. So within
like,
18
round
holes, okay.
1, I shot even.
hear
Round
round
2, I shot 10 over, for instance. I don't know if that actually happened, but I know that I've had some really big swings.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard. I usually just go back to the RV and hang out with the cat. She makes me feel better.
The cat has no worries.
No.
I had a 920 rated round and followed it up same day, different course with a 1050 rated round.
Wow.
And they were different courses, so it doesn't
Right.
the stroke swings, but the
Play-wise.
rating wise was insane.
Where
One
was
was a
that?
wooded course. That was Green Mountain, right after we came in from
Didn't you have something like that at Silver Cup, too?
Silver Cup. I shot 930 and then 1020.
Yeah.
And I've had those swings a bunch ever since I've started to be consistently 1,000 rated. Like the lowest I have been shooting has been like 975 or 980, and so I'm not having those crazy fluctuations because I'm making better decisions. But man, when those swings happen, you're just like, what am I doing? It's pretty rough.
All right, let's see. This is the second part.
Pause. Bobby, stop. There we go.
Too late.
I have this winter decided that I'm going to stop throwing my mid-ranges and drivers, and I'm going to throw just putters. A Warden, hashtag Team Warden, and a Slammer. I'm trying to go for distance. I wanted to know, what do you think a good distance, what would be a good distance to reach with just a putter for somebody that plays kind of AM3, AM2? Look forward to hearing back from you guys. Keep it real.
200, 225 for an AM2 or AM3 player. I think that is.
Is that good for him to do that?
It won't hurt. There'll be a learning period because throwing a putter far is almost a different form than throwing a fairway or mid-range.
Right.
The mid-range and putter are pretty close to each other. It takes you're trying to spin the disc out a little bit more, where faster discs you don't need to spin because they spin for you. It'll help in getting your consistency and whatnot, and you'll feel comfortable doing it. But throwing them for distances, I don't think is necessarily the best thing to be doing. It won't hurt, but
it's good to learn how to throw putters.
Yes.
Just because they show your flaws a lot easier. You have to get your nose angles good. You have to get your release, your wobble. You have to get all that in check, or they're not going to fly. So I think it's a good strategy. I don't know if, like trying to full power them, maybe over time as you learn, but it's a good tool.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah.
But like I said, 200 to 225 would be great for an AM2 or AM3 player throwing a putter.
Excellent. Next one is from Cameron.
What's up, Disc Golf Answer Man Squad?
Can you tell he's in his car? Did you hear the blinker?
Cameron Bloss from San Diego.
But before we move on, I want to make sure people understand that we do not advocate you using your phone while you're driving.
Driving and speak piping.
Yes, speak piping and driving, yeah. Now, he could be the passenger, so.
Yeah.
Escondido, to be exact. But my question was, I'm a noob to disc golf, and I've been hearing a lot of people saying, "Oh, grow the sport." And I get it, but I'm just wondering, what is it gonna take for people to, like, what's gonna be the point where everybody says, "Okay, we've done our job of growing the sport"? Just kind of curious, because I have a background in marketing and everything. So growing the sport, in my opinion, would just take a lot of marketing and just people, not necessarily like pros and ams, but just everybody in general, just hopping on social media more and spreading the word about disc golf. But just want to hear your opinion of what is it going to take to actually grow the sport? Like, is it? I don't know. But yeah, hopefully that makes sense. Thank you guys for all you do, and keep it G real.
I think there was almost two kind of questions because he says, when are we going to ever – I thought he was going to say, when are we ever going to stop saying grow the sport because the sport has grown?
Mm-hmm.
And the question is that never.
Yeah.
Right.
Because we'll always want it to grow.
Mm-hmm.
Where some don't get wrapped up in a disc golf bubble where you think that everybody knows about it,
Right.
even when there's going to be more people playing it. You're always going to have the grow the sport mantra because we love the game and people tend to want to share something that means something to them and they want to share it. What's interesting is that I remember in a meeting maybe years ago, we were talking about grow the sport, and I had a similar thought where I thought, when are we going to be the sport instead of grow the sport? Just be the sport.
Mm-hmm.
And someone said, well, the other day they were listening to something and they were talking about how baseball was trying to figure out how to grow baseball more. And I thought, whoa, wait, what?
Even now,
Baseball's huge. Yeah.
But the thing is that because there's so much fighting for people's attention that baseball has seen a decline in participation, people playing in leagues and stuff like that. And so they had to figure out a campaign of how to grow the sport of baseball. And then if you think of golf, we often disc golfers often talk about how, ball golf courses are going down and they're closing and golf is on a downswing. They've got their own freaking channel, 24 hours of golf, and they have to figure out, how do we maintain the growth? How do we maintain golf being relevant?
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So I don't know that it'll never stop being grow the sport and grow disc golf. Then what was his second part?
How do we do that?
How do we do that? Yeah, I mean, yes, on the basic level, it's going to take, Eric and Tina out there sharing it on their social media. It's going to be going out to schools, going out to clubs, clinics.
Yeah.
Until everybody can, if we can stop saying the phrase, like, I'm a professional disc golfer. What?
Mm-hmm.
I play frisbee golf. Until I can stop saying that and be like, oh yeah, I'm a professional disc golfer. Like, oh wow, that's amazing. There's a course just down the road. I've seen people. I've played.
Yeah,
until that becomes the constant conversation,
5% of the
where
time.
we're still gonna have to really over push the whole grow the sport thing. It's so important for our growth.
Next one is from Westy. Whoa, Westy.
Hey guys, this question is for Eric and Robert.
All right, we'll save that one for Eric and Robert. We'll go to Ryan.
I thought he was actually phrasing that to me.
Do you want me to go for
Robert.
it?
No,
I can do it.
I'm the other Eric. No, don't.
We could
bother.
just call Robert. And put
I
him on
know
speakerphone.
Robert would be really, really mad.
Would he be?
Because he gets really salty.
He does get pretty salty.
He's such a salty boy.
All right, let's see what Ryan has to say.
What's up, DGAM fam? This is Ryan from out here in beautiful Colorado. Usually a big Innova thrower. Now I'm all Team Trilogy. I love the Escape and the Maverick. Best disc on the market, in my opinion. But I was just curious. I need an overstable fairway driver.
Felon.
I need one that's not a meat hook, because if I usually try to disc up in the wind and go to a distance driver, everything just dumps right to left. I like to think I have a pretty good backhand, but I'm better for low speed discs. So just want to hear your suggestions on maybe an overstable fairway driver that just isn't extremely beefy. And love what you guys do. Thanks.
I really like the Explorer. I just started throwing that fairly recently.
For slower arm speed, it plays very well for that.
Well, if he's throwing Escapes and Mavericks. Or did he say Getaways?
No, he said Escape and Maverick.
Mavericks. Yeah. Yeah, it's a step up for me for sure, but it has a similar flight pattern, in my opinion. But
then what did you say?
Than an Escape or a Maverick, but it has a more stable finish.
I would suggest a Felon.
Of course,
I would suggest a Biofusion, Fusion, lightweight Lucid, that kind of Felon, because with the Explorer, I agree with it works for your arm speed, but if he is throwing that into the wind, that disc, when it gets up to speed, the wind's going to make it feel like it's moving faster, might keep it straight. Where a Felon is a more naturally overstable disc, and if he has these, it might actually still fight. Now the getaway I've heard, especially in the Lucid plastic, has worked for a lot of players as an overstable option in that fairway, and it'll feel similar to his Escape. But Felon is the best disc ever, so he should have a Felon.
How does the getaway compare to a Convict?
The getaway is a significantly more glidey disc, and one thing about the getaway is it is a very stays on the line, where the Convict has a flight that swings a little bit more from left to right, has a lot more lateral deviation, where the getaway is, and if it's going to hold its turn, it's just it stays this way and then fights back, where the Convict will pull over and then fight back. So there's a little bit of difference there, but they are very, very similar. Just depends on the shot shape.
Gotcha. All right, let's go to Dennis.
Hey guys, Dennis here from Wisconsin. My question is, I throw left-hand backhand, and when I throw understable discs, they always fly to the right. Is that because I don't have enough arm for the disc, or is that the way it's supposed to be? I've only been playing disc golf for about 2 months now, and I'm still learning all the basic factors to the game. Appreciate your answer.
It's hard to say without knowing what disc you're throwing, if they're that understable, or if maybe they're not that understable. But my first thought would be you might be throwing with the disc nose up, so when it's flying through the air forward, it's catching a lot of wind that's going to push it to the right. And if you can get that nose angle down, it should be flying more true to flight.
Mm-hmm. Also, you are still learning, and trying more probably slower discs might help in that situation, because he might be trying understable fast discs, and you've been playing for such a short time that you're not getting the disc up to the speed it needs. So trying an understable putter like a Deputy, or an understable mid-range like a Warren or a Patrol or something like that will be a good place to figure out if you actually can get those up to speed and are throwing it on the right angles and lines to get them to go to the left like you need to on that left-handed shot.
Excellent.
Also, you're left-handed. I'm sorry. Sorry, Zach. Boom roasted.
Oh, gosh.
The next one is from Anonymous, so hopefully I won't have to stop it all of a sudden.
Hello, Eric. I've got a boat McCabe, Bobby, Cool Daddy Slick Breeze, and Robert. I got better hair than you guys, McCall.
Does he have a reverb on?
I think so.
He is killing it right now. I feel like we're about to watch the most awesome trailer, to a movie.
In a world.
Ron, the bald Viking from Mound Valley, Kansas, and I've got Bobby's hairstyle, and I'm originally from Minnesota, which explains all that. Skål. Recently, I was playing at the Independence Community College disc course here in Kansas, and I had about 120 to 150 foot upshot on the 18th hole. I threw the disc too hard and to the right, and it was headed into the parking lot and out of bounds, and a tree jumped out in front of it, and my disc kicked back toward the basket, landed about 10 feet from it, and I had an easy putt for my three. So my question for you guys is, what is the worst shot out of your hand that actually turned out well for you? Also, one last thing, I just wanted to add, Bobby, don't grow any hair on top during No Shave November. The power donut and the ponytail are the two worst looks for balding men behind the comb over. Thank you guys for everything that you do. Grow the sport.
Wait, what did he call it? The
power donut?
Oh yeah, I call it the toilet bowl. You know how a toilet bowl, though, not the full one, but the one So yeah, I will not grow my hair out on top of my head ever. What do you guys got? Look, go back in the memory banks. What do you guys got for your worst shot ever? I only have to go back a couple days. No.
Okay, so this year at San Francisco, I had a birdie putt on hole 1. It might have been on film. I was with Germ. It might have been. It was second round. It was second round, so it wasn't on film, but because I would love for you guys to go see it. I had we'll call it 35, just outside circle 1. and I have a tree to my left, and it is not in play. We'll put it that way. It is very much, there is no reason I should hit this tree that is 10 feet away from me, 8 feet away from me. And I throw my putt, and it glances off the tree and still ends up getting me under the basket to save my par. But I threw it 8 feet into a tree in front of me and not in the rough, not anywhere where I should have definitely been able to probably give this putt a run to get my birdie, and I was not even close. I should have taken a bogey on the hole just because of how bad that putt was. But I didn't. Took my par and went to the next hole. That was pretty funny. Germ made me. He made sure I did not hear the end of that one. So, in typical Big Germ fashion, it was great. He had me laughing.
I've been trying to think of one, but all I can think of is my bad shots that went bad. I know that I've had some good luck here and there, but nothing's coming to mind.
Nothing. All right. We'll answer a few questions from the Google form. This one's Mike from South Dakota. Hey, Bobby, Cool Daddy, Slick Breeze, Eric, Return to the Mac McCabe, and Robert needs ID for a PG-13 movie. McCall.
He just walked in and heard that.
Oh, I wish you could get his face, his reaction to that.
He looks so sad.
Roasted, and he is mad.
Robert Mad Call.
So his question is, aside from the DD stamp buzz I have from years ago, I recently purchased my first DD disc, and it's a Lucid Getaway, and I am in love. I can throw it about 350 feet flat hyzer consistently. Hyzer flips a little, but never leaks right at all. My question is, what would be your guys' recommendation for me on a distance driver that has the same flight path, but of course longer? Lucid Getaway.
Maybe a Defender in a fusion or biofusion plastic might be pretty similar, or a biofusion enforcer. Slightly beat up. I feel like those would be pretty similar in the same trajectory of a Getaway staying in the DD lineup. The Lucid X Trespass also comes to mind. Eric McCabe's tour series from this past year.
What about the hybrid?
The hybrid Trespasses are really good. If you can find a Domi Lucid Trespass, you're in good shape as well. The Lucid Getaways tend to lean more on the overstable side of the spectrum, so that's why the Defender, Enforcer, Trespass, overstable versions of the Trespass come together. So, and they can't get your hybrid Trespass anywhere, because they sold out because you're so popular, Tina. Wow.
How different does the hybrid Trespass fly?
Watching Tina throw it looks more stable.
What happened?
I'll answer for it.
Nothing. Doug was walking in and out. It distracted me.
Sorry. So what'd you say, Eric?
I think it's more on the overstable side of the spectrum, but it's still it flies. It's not just a dump.
It flies and it glides compared to my.
Or does it glide and then fly? Oh, I'm sorry.
Fly glides.
It flies and then it glides.
Slides.
You gotta make it fly.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No, I like it. We should make a rap.
I like it. We should make a rap.
We're gonna get down.
I think the hybrid's a little like a step down from the Lucid X, but I'd say comparable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So next one comes from Elis, I think. Hello, Disc Golf Answer Man. My question is about jump putting. I'm very much a push putter, and I attempt to putt with a lot of hyzer, kind of like Greg Barsby. Also, I'm not great at throwing putters, so usually I like to jump putt my short approaches. The problem is that I can't get enough distance, and when I try to power up, the disc comes out wobbly. Any tips on jump putting technique and short approaches as a whole? Thank you in advance. You're doing a great job.
Thanks.
That's so
we just
nice.
got here.
Yeah.
Play catch with a throw and catch disc and a putter. Get used to that awkward distance that you're having, and you can actually throw putts there. And you can play catch with a jump putt, so you understand how to release the disc, how to spin the disc out. Try a deputy as well. That will allow you to put less effort and still keep the disc gliding.
Stay in the air.
It'll stay in the air a little bit longer, and you'll be able to work it, and then you'll be able to progress back into more straighter discs and amazing discs like the Marshall. So.
I really like his advice on playing catch. Like, I do that to warm up before a round. I'll play jump putt catch with Eric before I go play, because that's something I really need to dial in before I go out.
Yeah, and get a Marshall, Team Marshall.
You said deputy. Team deputy.
Team deputy. When are we gonna do some more team deputy stuff?
I did pages.
I know, but more. Like, they've already done like 2 or 3 more videos.
See, I don't know what team I'm on. So, like, I'm on all 3.
You're the Team Torn.
I love them all.
Oh, Team Torn is
much.
good.
Team Torn.
Team Torn.
Yeah, but just
Team Tina.
Just remember, Team Tina. Just get a Marshall.
All right, next one is from Chris. Looking to move up from the Lucid Convict for my primary forehand driver. What is a good mold and plastic for a first forehand dominant distance driver from the Trilogy line? I currently get 300 feet from the Convict, but feel that a bit faster disc could add some much needed distance. What say you?
Faster than a Convict, but similar flight.
Biofusion Enforcer. Slightly beat
Whoa,
up.
that's a lot faster.
A slightly beat up version would be pretty solid. Even a Trespass might be in that same realm.
Maybe a Biofusion Trespass.
Yeah, find a slightly flat one so it's a little more comfortable out the gate, but it's going to be on the understable side. But I feel like a Convict, for most players, especially when throwing a sidearm, is more of a hyzer flip sidearm disc. If he's throwing it 300 feet, it probably is hyzer and standing up. I doubt he's forcing it over to get it to 300 feet because the Convict doesn't fight out like a Felon would or something like that. And that's all speculation, so I could be wrong.
You want something faster, though.
Yeah, so that's why I think a Biofusion Enforcer would work, slightly beat up, and a Trespass would probably be the right choice out the gate, but would beat out of that stage kind of quick.
Next one is from Mitch. Hi, Disc Golf Fans, man. I've been listening to your stuff for a while, and I think you guys do an excellent job. My question is related to release and distance. Recently, I maxed out my distance at 415 after previously I only reached 350 on a good drive. There is a problem, however, because this extra distance I got was the result of releasing the disc late, and I drove about 50 to 75 feet right of my target. He's right-hand backhand. Ignoring the fact that I was rounding, which caused the misfire, why did it go so far?
Grip block?
So a couple things that could be happening there is your plant foot is actually not getting out in front, allowing you to be explosive and stay in the pocket longer. And your plant foot is pulling you off your line and sending you to the right.
Send it.
Yeah, full sends. You might actually be in that throw. It was really, really good. Your timing was right. Everything was working. But you just had your feet were off. And then again, I know Danny talks a lot about it, and I talk a lot about it whenever I'm teaching, is staggering your feet. You want your right foot for a right-handed player to be a little bit more out in front than your left foot. It allows you to get out of the way and allow your body to drive, and the disc stays in the pocket and stays on the line that you want to be throwing. Tina and I really preach taking video of yourself, and you can easily see this. Grab a video from behind you, from the side, and all these things to see what problems you're having. Are you planning? Are you rounding? Is the disc, are you changing the angle? And that might be the reason you're not gaining distance.
What if you're squaring?
Well, then you're not around.
Oh, okay.
Making boxes.
Be there or be square.
Next one is from Thomas. I'm looking for a replacement for my MF Thunderbird.
Okay.
That's what it says. What does MF stand for?
Metal flake.
Okay, I was about to say. Is he just mad at the disc or what? My MF Thunderbird. I lost it playing a casual round and have felt lost without it. What would you recommend out of the Trilogy lineup? Thanks for the help in advance. Make sure to keep it real. I was saying he about kept it real with that MF Thunderbird.
The Felon is a solid option. If your Metal Flake Thunderbird, your MF Thunderbird was on the overstable side, but the Lucid Getaway would resemble the actual flight a little bit more if it was also overstable. So either one of those discs can definitely fill that role. The Fusion The burst getaways, I think, are on the straighter sides that are very similar to Thunderbird. So I definitely think if that's what it was for you, that's where I would go. I would also suggest a beat-up Felon, but that's just because that's all I throw. But the Getaway is a great disc that resembles the Thunderbird and offers a lot of the same versatility.
Next one comes from Tanner. If you're putting really bad during the first round of a tournament, what should you do between rounds to make yourself better for the second round? Just quit. Just don't even play the second round.
Go home.
Yikes, Bobby. That's harsh.
Go get some pizza.
Yeah.
Should you ever make changes if things just do not feel right, or just write it out and hope it gets better?
I really like to focus on one thing, and usually that one thing is follow through, but it might end up being something else if I'm noticing certain flaws. Maybe my back foot is in a different place than usual, but usually the one thing I focus on if I'm missing putts is following through and making sure that my fingers are in the middle of the chains when I let go. And so when I'll do that in my putting practice in between, like during my lunch break, I'll just putt practice and just, okay, follow through to the chains. And then during the next round, then that's the one thing that I focus on. You know, we all get in funks and there's not much you can do, but I wouldn't change much.
Yeah. No reason. You
gotta trust it.
You know how to putt and focus on one thing and it'll figure it out.
All right, this one's from Juan. This is a rules question, so put your thinking cap on. Ready?
Bam.
Should the PDGA instate a rule that limits the number of discs a player may carry in an entire tournament? Each player, upon check-in, would submit a list of the discs with the description, color, weight, stamp they will be carrying for that tournament. With this, a maximum number of discs, let's say 25, could be carried during the round. I believe this would put more pressure on the players' shot selection, and if the tournament is played on multiple courses, would put more emphasis on well-roundedness of bags. My first thing is, how do you police that?
Mm-hmm.
It's not. I mean, I know golf doesn't. Golf have some limitation, but golf has, you know,
Japan,
an official.
The Japan Open put an official stamp on every single disc that you
Oh,
submitted.
okay, that would make sense.
Then all of our discs would just have stamps from all these different
Forever and
tournaments.
ever, yeah.
And it becomes a little tedious. Now, I don't think that that's something that we can implement right now in our sport, still being, in an honest opinion, in its early adolescence. That we could do that. I would love to see a little bit more restrictions on, when we show up to a big tournament, the discs that we're using, and if we add any discs before the round, we have to check those discs in before we play to make sure that all the discs are up to specification. There are, I can tell you that plenty of discs are unmarked. I can tell you that plenty of discs might have improper holes or stuff like that, and people end up still using them. But we as players don't know that,
right?
Because we're not looking into other players' bags. I mean, like, did you mark that one? Does it have an individual marking on it?
Yeah, but again, how do you police that? I mean,
you police that by every time you go into a tournament, you have to check your discs before the round. Check your discs. You have a person there who goes through them, checks them, makes sure there's. And that,
yeah, we're not anywhere close to that.
Yeah, we're not there yet, and
we can't even get.
And at what level? Like, you were talking like an NT major level?
Yeah, the big time.
The big time stuff.
Majors and up.
So he mentions, it says it would put more emphasis on a well-roundedness of a bag. Who cares?
In golf, you can. There's a club limit, but
you could carry all nines if you wanted to, right?
Yeah, you could, and it shouldn't necessarily matter, because a well-rounded bag for one is a completely different for another.
Right. I was just thinking, what's the definition of well-rounded?
Yeah, if
I'm well-rounded.
Yeah.
But I'm going to the gym to kind of help that. But.
I'm well-rounded.
I don't know. I think that's a step beyond where we are right now.
Yeah.
A pretty solid step beyond where we are as a sport right now.
I don't understand. I don't know that I would. I don't even see the.
I don't see the point.
Maybe that's. I don't see the point. What is the point? Who cares if someone decides to carry 5 molds going into a major, and they win and they do well? Oh well.
Mm-hmm.
If someone has the bag on their back and a bag on their caddy's back, who cares?
Yeah, I think that's some of the beauty of the sport, is like the diversity there of,
individuality of everybody gets to throw what they want.
MJ has like 4 molds.
Yeah.
Maybe 5. Like, then Eric carries a ton of discs, and maybe it's just, I think that's the cool part.
Carry a ton of discs? What are you talking about?
Well, not different molds, I guess, but
I don't even carry that many discs.
How many
I've tried to carry your bag. It's heavy.
When I'm doing a practice round, heck yeah, it is. I stuff that thing to the rafters.
I didn't know that was gonna offend you so much. Calm down.
I don't.
All right, let's get your all's take on this. This is definitely a newbie here, Matthew from Colorado. I'm wanting to start playing amateur events around Colorado, New Mexico in the next couple of years. I'm thinking I will enter the events as an intermediate. But can you explain A, B, C, and X tiers?
Always one of those intermediates.
Eric.
I mean that isn't like he said it. I'm gonna be an intermediate. And, like I'm gonna be a intermediate. Never mind. It's like calling somebody a left-handed. It's just funny. Never mind. It's not.
It's not funny.
Your
Eric.
Your Lucid X.
All right, I'm out of here.
Just
We're
later,
losing listeners as you talk.
Okay, so the tiers.
So to break it down, super simple. Now, I would suggest you go to PDGA. I can't remember where. I'm sure there's some place that explains it in depth. But to break it down, there's different regulations, requirements as far as how much added cash you can have, you need to have at the event. There's even requirements of how close you can have these different tiered events to each other. I think it's mostly just added cash, right?
Added cash, basket standards, and stuff like that vary from each one.
Right.
And then on the tournament, like director side, there's requirements for how quickly they need to have the results posted and stuff like that too.
And so you're gonna have the ones you're gonna see the most is A, B, C, and so a C tier isn't going to be, I hate to use the word quality because there's some quality C tiers out there. There's not going to be as much money in it when it comes to a C tier. And then when you go up a level to B and A tier is going to be the top one. X tier just means that there's something that they've done in the event to make it to where it can't fall into the line of an A, B, C. So like X tier, you could say what?
Doubles,
marksman baskets.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You
want it to be a PDGA round, but you're going to use marksman baskets, but the ratings can't count.
Special rules or stuff like that.
So you have what's called designated as an X
C tiers are going to be a little more laid back, whereas the A tiers are going to be more competitive and more professional.
The Disc Golf Pro Tour Finals was an X tiered event
because of the bracket system,
because of how it played out.
We will skip that one, and we will go to Seth Harwood.
Hey, Seth.
Hey.
What's up, Seth? I saw that there's an event in Emporia playing a gold layout at Jones Park. Any info on that? Needing a good reason to drive up there again. But Seth, you know the deal. You can't ask time-related questions.
Hey, but if it doesn't matter if this comes out, come and play Jones Gold. It, to me, is one of the most fun courses I've played in a very long time. I got to play it with Robert, Dixon, Emac, and wow.
So let me explain to our listeners what we mean by Jones Gold. So we have a Jones East and a Jones West. And the Jones Gold just takes it to where, let's say, and this is totally made up because I don't know exactly how it works. Let's say hole 1 on East might throw to hole 5s on West.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's just a combination of that. Some people would call it safari style because it's you throw it at different holes, or it's a whole different setup than what people are used to. And it's a different, I mean, you could do that even if you had an 18-hole course. You could still make up some sort of 9-hole safari layout where it's hole 1's throwing to hole 3's basket, or depending on the layout, you might be hole 3 tee might be thrown to hole 15's basket, all depending on the layout of your course. And it's just a fun way to kind of change things up. So you might try that in your league or your mini nights or something like that. So sorry we got to that question late, Seth. All right, we got time for a couple more questions. You guys good?
Oh, yeah.
Got it in you? You need another burrito, Tina?
Is that good?
I've got like a quarter of a burrito left.
Oh, you still got some burrito left? Where's the burrito from anyway?
That restaurant that we went to.
Oh, that restaurant.
Yeah, that one restaurant that has
Del Toro?
Yes.
You said you had dinner there, but we had breakfast there.
Is that a breakfast burrito?
Yeah, so I had like a quarter of it almost a half of it while we were at the restaurant, and now I've had it twice today. So it's a giant burrito.
They are pretty big burritos. They are good too. Okay, this one's from Richard.
What up, Richard?
I wonder if this is WT Richard.
There you go, Rick.
WTF Richard.
Rick.
I'm fairly new to disc golf. For some... Okay, hold on. I'm trying to... Because this is like... He didn't do a very good spell check or something. I'm fairly new to disc golf. For some contest of where the question is coming from, I have lived in the U.S. Okay, so he must be overseas. Lived in the U.S. for 7 years, but I'm originally from Northern Ireland. He is from Ireland. I know that disc golf is still a U.S.-dominated sport, but other countries have seen development. Is there national teams in disc golf where disc golf players have the opportunity to play for their country? Do you think a disc golf World Cup type tournament might help the development of disc golf outside the U.S.? Okay, good.
Yes.
Isn't that what the President's Cup was? Or
the
no?
President's Cup is Europe versus the United States. I know that the European Championships, everybody wears decked out clothing from the country that they represent, which is really, really cool. I would love to see something like that happen, but we also are in a place where if you wanted all of the American players to show up that you would want at that type of event, it's just we're not in that feasible place, or all of the European players to come to the United States. European players. The European players to come over here, it doesn't totally work out at this moment, but I definitely could see something like that coming in the near future, where we have more team-related events and stuff like that. So
when there's more money in the sport?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mike asks, I do field work and putting practice 3 to 4 times a week. I do about 300 to 500 putts a practice. I see the improvements, but when I play a tournament, I can make a putt. I see the improvements, but when I play a tournament, I can't make a putt. My form falls apart, and I just play the most horrible round. Is there something I can do to fix that? Is it mental? I can't seem to figure out what I'm doing wrong. Hopefully you guys can.
Probably mental. It's all in your head.
Yeah.
Just don't play the second
you're
round.
absolutely mental.
Mental.
You're mental. Start a
You can tell when
routine.
we get tired of them.
Start a routine in your practice and allow that to transfer to the play. Do every single putt you have in practice, do the exact same thing. So when you get into those tournament rounds and whatnot, you are doing that so you can remember. Your body will be trained in this is how this motion works when I do these things. I had a countdown where I would plant my foot behind my mini and I'd count 1. I'd look up, 2. I'd put my putter up to the sky, or put my putter towards the basket, 3. And then I would draw back, 4, release, 5. And I did that every single time, and that helped get me the understanding of how a putt should feel, especially from practice to a tournament. And it really, really has helped translate to my overall putting confidence.
All right, last question is coming from Ben. Ben, you are the winner of the last question.
Well done, dude.
I thought I had a good right-hand backhand technique, and I have been capped out on distance from 350 to 400 feet. I took my wife to play for her first time, and she took video of some of my drives. I was shocked that my form was so bad. My hips, legs, X-step, and follow-through looked fine. It's the reach back that looked odd. I started the motion of the X-step, and I reached back low. Then somehow I pulled the disc up high around shoulders, then pull the disc back down upon release. Any tips or practice to correct this technique? Or, any techniques to correct it?
Don't look at my form. Don't do as I say, not as I do necessarily. It takes a lot of time to be able to adjust from that, and that how I've been able to work my form from reaching down to back up towards the chest and pull across has just been a total a lot of work in the field and a lot of hours. Focus on one part of that. You're doing the X step, so you're trying to learn that, but that might be throwing you off. So maybe you need to go back to throwing a few more standstills to help get that timing and understanding where your arm should be reaching back. After you've done that, incorporate it and over focus on that reach back. Once you get comfortable with that X step, over focus that reach back to where it's not having a lot of deviation from up to down, and that can help you regain consistency. And also, don't try and throw hard. That's probably a good reason why you were off as well. And that's all speculation, but
slow it down, take some video.
Yep.
Slow it down.
Tina's really good about teaching this kind of stuff. She sees it. She even will see whenever I'm maybe moving too quick and trying to throw too hard. She'll just be like, "Hey, slow it down, dude. You're not there. Like,
yeah,
keep
dude.
it smooth."
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, bro.
All right, guys, thank you so much. That's all the time we have for the audio podcast. We'll talk to you a little bit on the YouTubes and get some questions, but I know you audio guys don't like to hear the YouTube stuff, so we will let you go. Cut you loose.
Later, audios.
Oh, they tell me all the time on the Reddits.
Everybody's
on the Reddits.
Audios.
Everybody's got an opinion on the Reddits, so we're going to let you go, audio people. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to the show. We will see you next time. Oh, and thank you to Tina and Eric for stopping by.
Hey, you're welcome.
You're welcome. And adios.
Adios.
Sorry, I'm just.
I had to. Adios.
He really needed to be acknowledged for that.
Adios.
Actually, I'm taking ownership of that. And so.
Adios.
Adios.
All right. Thanks, guys. We'll see you. All right, YouTubes. Lando, what are you talking about? I'm skipping questions.
He's mad at you. He said you skipped the fun ones.
Fun. What fun questions? You're fun. You're a fun question.
Got him, Bobby.
Got him.
Boom, roasted.
I currently throw a 165 Wraith for my distance driver. What trilogy discs should be similar?
A trespass will be slightly faster. The Boatman or Flow are also very good, and the Renegade might be on the understable side, but I think it would be great.
Bobby, would you sign a Robert disc that says "When keeping it real goes wrong," written and signed by Robert? TJ, if you ordered that disc, I would sign that disc. All you got to do is order it, put it in the note request, and I will do it. I love the show because it's opened my eyes to new discs and brands other than Innova. The locals at my course are Innova crazy.
Nice.
I'm glad that we were able to open your eyes. How much water do you, Eric and Tina, consume per average round?
Not enough.
Yeah, not enough, but I try to go through one of these bottles.
Yeah. If I can.
One of these ones that you've been showing off?
Yeah, somebody even commented on Eric's sticker.
Definitely try and go through at least one of those during a round. It's incredibly good to stay hydrated.
I use
so
my footage.
try and drink more water.
You better have, because let's see. Any Whale Pants tour stops planned for Colorado next year?
We're always working on something.
Okay, Rusco.
Always working on something.
I don't know if there is yet. We unfortunately don't really go through Colorado a whole lot.
But next year we're going to be running.
Reach out to us on the Whale Pants page on Facebook, and let us know where you want us to go, and we will see what we can do.
Disc Golf Dave wants a crow hop class.
Oh man, I can't do that. Try and throw more traditional. If you try and throw like me and it works, do it. But I would not preach to do that.
You know what I think this maybe Smashbox is onto something, and with their after show,
having really long shows.
Yeah, I mean, I'm relaxed. I'm tired.
I'm more relaxed now than when the podcast.
I know.
was on.
I'm relaxed. So
I feel like I can say whatever I want now.
Well, let's not go that far, but no, I know what you're saying. So
you're like multitasking when you have that on.
So we'll just kind of talk to you guys here on the after show for a little bit until we're just really tired of it, I guess. 4:12. I don't know that I feel like starting anything else for the day. It's snowing outside. Let me show you guys on the YouTube how much it's snowing.
Go home and chill with Sebastian.
I'm good. Tonight it's going to be a chill night.
Yeah.
Chilling. Well, yeah, I got some snowing outside.
I got some chicken thighs to cook, and I'm going to make some bacon and Brussels sprouts little.
Thanks for the invite,
concoction.
Bobby.
Yeah, okay, we'll see you there.
You guys want to come over?
There.
I think I have enough chicken thighs.
Chicken thigh soup is what.
So yeah, it's chicken thigh soup. Gross.
It's soup weather.
So we'll see if some more questions come up. Look out, Tina. Tina's about to keep it real. Oh. What trilogy? This is more similar to the TL3.
Explorer. We'll call it a fusion, slightly beat up Explorer.
Who's funnier, Robert or Bobby?
Bobbert.
Robert is funny. He's pretty funny.
So are you, though.
Am I?
Yeah.
Funny looking.
You're funny. Some days, Bobby,
You're hilarious.
you're
Kill it.
on it. Robert's fun to make fun of. So maybe that makes him more fun.
Sometimes I feel bad. Is he watching? Do we know if he's watching? Sometimes I'll be, okay, this is a little secret for you guys. My 115 people that are on right now. Robert is too easy to make fun of, and sometimes I feel bad. Even after I say the thing that makes fun of him, I feel bad. Is that him?
No.
Or is that you?
It's...
No, because you guys are sign up, yeah. Whatever. Don't forget about the grilled buffalo shrimp recipe. Oh, where was that? The grilled buffalo. Oh, who told me that?
Buffalo shrimp.
That sounds good. I need to get some big shrimp.
Get some shrimp.
What else? What else you guys want to talk about? What's on y'all's mind?
Snow right now. Okay. They can't. Can I go move that thing and show them what it actually looks like?
What do you mean what it actually looks like? This is what it looks like. Yeah, go move it if you want to, but I'm not. TJ says Tina and Eric are awesome guests, so thank you. Well, you're welcome, TJ. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, but I don't know they can still see it.
Yeah, it's not very good. You're not very good. Yeah, I am. Yeah, I am. But yeah, so
I wonder how aggressive it's gonna look at my time lapse. I had a time lapse going, and
Tina knew he was doing a time lapse,
so she kicked it.
Watch this.
I couldn't have it for myself.
No, Sean, that is not the real Robert responding. Are you gonna get matching newlywed tattoos?
Sure.
Do you have tattoos, Eric?
I have one. I have. It's a famous Italian quote for my favorite team.
It says pasta is good.
It says, yes. I love Tina.
It says it's.
I love Fina.
Fino alla fine,
they can't
which
see it.
Means.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Here's the snow while we talk about a tattoo.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Let's go this way. Yeah. Fino alla fine, which means to the end in Italian. It's a famous quote from my favorite soccer team, Juventus. I got it because just never give up type of thing, and it goes to all aspects of you never give up in disc golf, you never give up in life, you never give up in everything you're doing, and work really hard until the end.
Find out more love for the captain. I think the captain's
I love
a great
the
disc.
captain.
Yeah. You're just not good.
You're not going to get it from the top pros?
The top pros, and a lot of people listen to the top pros, which they should. I mean, they're top pros for a reason, but you're not going to get a lot of captain talk from them.
Yeah.
Although it's a very good disc, and a lot of people throw it, you just don't hear. You don't hear from the advanced guy that's winning all the events and using a captain because he's not on the Disc Golf Pro Tour talking and interviewing. You know what I'm saying? So make sure you listen to. And we set it up before. Who cares what other people say? If that disc is working for you, that's what you throw. You do you.
And listen to yourself.
You, and I'll be me. I'll be me. I'll leave it at that. Thank you guys so much. Let's see. What was your worst disc golf injury?
My shoulder that's still injured. 2-year injury. I'd say that's my worst injury.
I had a lower back flare up earlier this year, which made me drop out of the Whistler's doubles.
Was that worse or your knee thing that was super fluky?
The knee thing, I was still able to play.
What about when you shaved? Was that an injury? Or
oh my God, I was hurting for weeks.
Who's your favorite actor or actress?
Probably Jim Carrey. As a comedian goes, I've been loving his doing any liar gif that I can use, or Ace Ventura gif. GIF.
That's a tough one.
Really? Why?
I just like a lot of movies.
Tom Hanks as well. And
who's your favorite comedian?
Like stand-up comedian?
No. Like if okay,
That's what I thought,
so
too.
you just saw a trailer, and it had this comedian in it, and it was a rom-com or it was just a regular, it was just a funny movie, and it had this comedian in it, and you're like, as soon as you knew that comedian was in it, you're like, I'm going to go see that. I mean, I'm going to go see it.
Jim Carrey.
Okay. Tina?
That's like more specific.
I was trying to help
Let's
you.
go back to number one. I think George Clooney and Emma Stone.
You think George Clooney is a good actor? Or is this your
He's
favorite?
very attractive.
That's not what the question. I guess it is. I guess you could answer it that way.
Seems like a great actor to me. No, actually, Chris Pratt is probably higher up on that list.
Yeah.
And I think he's a great actor. He can do a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say a comedian that is Steve Carell.
Yep.
Now, of course, he's been getting into some of the serious stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to see the new
I like
one
that
with
versatility.
the
Oh yeah,
with the animation figures. Action
oh no, I
figures.
didn't take that. What's that one?
Steve Carell. I think it's he served in the war. Something. Oh no, served and then got beat up at a bar, and now has like an illness or a disease, or he's traumatized from it and can't remember everything. So he's reliving things through these action figures. I saw the trailer for it. It's coming out soon.
I think I know what you're talking about.
It looks
now.
so
Morrowind?
good. Yeah.
Something Morrowind.
Somebody asked about the Halloween contest. Yes, we had a winner. His name was Joe Padilla, and I believe the Junior Worlds compact cards was already sent.
Which one?
He was dressed up as Eric McCabe.
Yeah, as the
and
no
trespass.
trespass.
And then he was in the. What was cool is he had the beard. He was dressed up Eric McCabe, and then he did the putting form.
Yeah.
And then he had the no trespass sign. And I was like, so that's made it.
Yeah,
so.
it was good.
Where do we go to dinner? Where should we go to dinner?
Ooh, Elmar Mall. Actually, Elmar Mall.
Okay, text her that.
Elmar.
Bobby didn't actually invite us over for dinner. So.
I guess I'm too late now.
Yeah.
Who asked you?
No chicken thighs for us.
Chicken thigh.
Denise and Emac.
Oh.
Denise and Emac.
Any other questions on here?
Favorite place in the U.S.?
Vermont.
Yeah, Vermont. Or Pensacola, Florida.
Or Nantucket.
Yeah, because we got married there.
Yeah, our voices are getting more and more like
ridiculous.
Now. She's been on here for long.
I know. So talk to me for real. Now that you're married, has the dynamic
Discs. Plug.
Because you were together before, obviously. You traveled for how long would you say you traveled
2
together
years.
before you got married?
Pretty much since we met.
Yeah.
So let's do some real talk here. Did a lot change once you got married?
Not really.
The best part about that was like being able to say, "Yes, my wife makes whale sex," and that's just a cool thing to be able to say.
Do you say that to a lot of people?
Yeah.
And
everybody
I love hearing
in
it.
the line at Walmart.
Hey, Anthony.
Hey,
my wife makes whale sex.
But I mean, like at the bank, making a deposit or something. Hey, by
Somebody
the way,
asked. Hey, by the way,
my wife makes
this is
whale
my
sex.
wife.
My wife.
She makes whale sex.
Yeah, just being able to refer to her as my wife.
Yeah, we
is
brag
cute
about
and
each other in
cool.
that way now. Like that's different. We get like my husband.
What was have you had an argument since getting married?
Yeah.
But normal stuff, mainly my stuff being in the way.
We honestly argue about the dumbest stuff.
No, I'm not talking about
just
I'm not
laugh
talking about
at
a
each other. When
I'm
it's
not
over.
talking about a spat. I'm talking like full on like didn't talk to each other for a little bit to kind of let things cool down.
No, we don't really ever do that.
No,
which is kind of nice. We live in the RV together, and it's 23 feet, so it's like it's a very small space. If we're gonna argue, we better be over it within a few minutes.
Right, because there's no
you're stuck in the
avoiding each
same
other,
room
right?
no matter what.
Do you think that something like that? Do you think like every couple should maybe experience that living in a small space?
I think it's helped us communicate a lot, like a lot.
Honestly, that's probably the biggest reason why we grew as close as we did. Anytime there was a problem, it was communicate it. Even if it's in that moment, you know it probably will make the other person upset.
Yeah.
By you saying that, it's getting it out there. In the end, I can be like, all right, I'm going to make the effort to stop doing what's making them mad, because I don't want them to be mad in the whole grand scheme of things. I want them to be happy. and if they're unhappy with this, how this is going, I
Who's
need
they?
to do something.
Is they me?
I'm saying I'm doing it from both
all your
sides.
wives.
Both sides of the
harem.
spectrum. Whenever you're feeling that way, I'm feeling they.
So someone had an interesting question. Any plans for a baby?
No.
Not as of right now. We're loving what we're doing,
Yeah.
and that would be really hard. I mean, I don't think we'd be upset if it happened, but we're just not. We like what we're doing.
Yeah.
I've got a lot more
You would
to
be upset
accomplish.
if you know what it takes to make it happen, right? You're aware of that, correct? No? Okay, we'll talk about it after
Teach
the
me.
show.
Please tell us.
We're waiting till we retire to do that. Probably.
Okay, do that kind of stuff.
That's
what
what
is,
I keep saying.
So someone asked about plans of settling down. They say Portland, Texas. But I know you've teased on your Facebook page, Tina.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I don't know if you technically call it settling down.
No.
You're just kind of wanting some sort of home base. And talk to us. Where's that at, and what's your thinking behind that?
Yeah, we actually are looking into houses. It's just kind of different for us because we don't really have a home base. My family's in Wisconsin. Eric's is in Salt Lake City and Texas. But those aren't really places we want to spend our off season. And a lot of people can go home rent free and go chill with their family for a couple months during the off season. We don't really have that option with the RV, and we just don't have it. So we just kind of talked a little bit about where our favorite place would be to settle down, and Pensacola came to the very top of the list after a fairly short conversation, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I think we only listed off a few places, and then I said Pensacola, and we're like,
Yep.
yeah, that's it.
Yep.
So we did start looking at houses, but we've got bigger things to do. Well, smaller things to do, I guess, between now and the start of the season. So it's still on the table, but we're not like jumping into anything right now. But we did find a house we like. We just can't do it right now. So
Sorry, it's too personal of a question. Which
No,
one?
he was talking about the baby
question. No, it's
it
fine.
is. It is kind of a personal question, but
Sure, but that's fine.
It's yes, this is disc
Also-
golf. Disc golf answer man after hours for
Tina
sure.
is hot.
Tina is hot. Keep
Thanks.
it clean,
Yes.
Chris. Keep it clean.
Thanks.
We
This is my
appreciate.
husband.
Yeah,
I mean, I agree.
sure.
Are you
just,
warm?
just.
Oh, you are warm. Oh man.
That's what he means. My cheeks are red because I've been in these lights for like 2
Mr.
hours
Drew
now.
says settling down equals parking the longest, the longest place you'll park.
Pretty much.
Oh, to keep it fair, Lando says Eric is hot too. So
Yeah.
True story.
Let's go.
so
I saw on there. Did you? No, I don't see anything. Never mind.
What company will
Can't remember
Macbeth
anything.
go to?
I think it's kind of out of the bag what company he's
Isn't
going
it?
to.
I thought it was.
Last I had heard through all the rumors and gossip and everything would be that he's.
By the way,
making
before
his way
anything
to-
is said, all of this is the
Yeah,
opinions and the feelings and the thoughts of
Not
Eric
the
Oakley, Tina
representation
Oakley,
of
and
Dynamic
Bobby
Disc.
Brown. They do not necessarily represent the thoughts and opinions of Dynamic Disc Westside District Lab 264.
Shouldn't you have said that in the very beginning?
Well, no, because this is the only controversial stuff we're talking about. So you were saying the last you heard was
that he was gonna probably end up with Discraft.
Yes,
which is fine. It's a shake up in the sport, and I think that there will be a lot of good to come out of these types of changes. Hopefully, and my goal, or my hope, not my goal, my hope is that this whole experience will eventually bring more money into the sport for more players and more future players. Now, it could have negative effects because future players might think that they deserve contracts that, you know, they need to be making 6 figures, seven figures to make it in the sport of disc golf, which is not at all true. You don't need that much, and there has to be some stuff put aside in the long run for the greater prosperity of our sport. So there's a lot to that, and obviously that's a pretty I guess broad way to put it, but I hope people understand what I mean when I say that.
Real quick, we'll get to Carson's question because he's been patient. He's asked it a couple times. What is the best course in Emporia? So me, if you were to, when I tell people, I typically tell them Peter Pan if you're going to play one course, because to me I feel like it's the most well-rounded, challenging, open your arms, technical, well-placed shot.
It's a pretty good answer.
But if someone were to come to you, if you were like, hey, we just got back from Emporia, oh, I've been meaning to go there, but I can only play one round, one course, what would it be?
That to that question, I'd say Peter Pan.
Okay.
I would agree. But as what I think is the best course, I think Jones Golden Country Club are evenly just as good as each other as a for a professional player.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think it depends on kind of how you play, but any player I think could play Peter Pan and love it. I love that course. I think it's really fun.
Jones West is actually, having played it a little bit more, I got to play it
You
in
like
the
it
duel.
more?
I like it. It's a great round to play casually. I wouldn't necessarily love to play it in a tournament fashion at the professional level, because I feel like the course is a better geared course for an amateur level and whatnot. So I wouldn't necessarily want to do that. But I if somebody says we're going to play Jones West, I'm not crying about it.
Gotcha.
Not anymore.
Quick questions. As pros who are often filmed and photographed, what are your thoughts on the huck face example? Ricky behind you. I find it hard to take these photos seriously. Actually, the one with Ricky isn't the most huck faces I've seen on Ricky. There's some ones where it's really huck face. Yes, I would say. In fact, when I go out and do photography I've often tried to not get. I'm starting to try to branch out and get different style photos because. Even though those photos are cool to catch them in the action or the action of the disc, like only a couple feet away from you guys as you're throwing it, it does kind of mess it up whenever your face is kind of contorted and like the muscles in your tendons in your arms are like almost crazy. Look like they're going to crack out of your skin. They don't make it look all that cool. So
I'm gonna say this.
Oh,
I have a pretty good huck face.
He does.
It doesn't look
nice.
that bad. Like I'm just
mine's terrible. I hate
my
it.
lips get tight and I'm like kind of looking just like pretty stern. Like I'm not like
yeah. Ricky has pretty huck of the huck faces for sure. TJ wants to know: do they have Oakley your support felons? Oh, so
yes,
we have some Lucid X felons
that you can buy on the dynamicdisc.com store. There are still some Lucid X felons left, not many, so jump on those. If you're asking about the ones that have Oakley across them, I still have those. Reach out to us. You should buy both.
I believe there are some on whalesax.com right now.
Nice. Those are the stock ones, not the Oakley ones.
No, we put your Oakley ones up. Just don't listen to me. I don't know anything.
But yes, definitely go to whalesax.com if you want to get some whale sex. And thank you, TJ. You're awesome.
Yes, Jace Chaser. I think that the huck face photos can be unflattering in some circumstances.
My favorite disc golf pictures are not while they're throwing. I like the in the moment smiles and upset and talking to other players and stuff like that. Those make me happy.
Yeah.
Get to know the player more.
How far is your most max distance throw? How far is your most max? Bobby, I honestly cannot tell you. I've never measured my throws.
Tina?
Right now it's pretty sad. It's like probably 290 is my max right now, absolute max. But once my shoulder gets better, I used to throw 325-ish.
Yeah. It's when your body doesn't work the way it should, it becomes difficult to actually make things happen. I throw 5+. I don't know, anything farther than that, it doesn't necessarily matter, I feel like. But yeah. Normally, if I'm throwing, I'm not trying to throw much farther than 450 to 475. But if I really have to open up, I could push well over that 5 mark if I need to.
Cool. All right, guys, it's time to go. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Eric and Tina, for graciously being here for this. Is going on 2 hours and 51 minutes live. So we definitely had a good time. So thank you so much, guys.
I stood in the corner for longer than that too.
Yeah. I'll say it one more time. Make sure you follow youtube.com/whalesax. Check out whalesax DG.
Whale pants.
Oh, dadgummit. youtube.com/ How do people follow you if they want to know what's going on?
youtube.com/whalepants, whalesax.com, and whalepantsdg.com.
And at the Eric Oakley on Instagram and Facebook, and TK Oakley7 on Instagram if you want some personal stuff.
My story is gold today, so go check that out.
Excellent. All right, guys. We'll see you next time.